What a weekend it was. Wow. Wow. Exciting Bucks game. Brewers, unfortunately, the bats that were at American Family Field have somewhat fallen silent. Not as silent, but not banging away as loud as we had hoped going into that series down in Atlanta. Now they try to get healthy again and beat up on the Cincinnati Reds, this time at Great American Ballpark. Then you've got the 80-1 shot. The 80-1 shot. And for a minute there, I thought the horse that Ben Kenny chose, which got off to a little bit of a start and led for all the blink of an eye, I thought, oh my goodness, Ben Kenny is going to be able to pick the winner of this thing. It just never came to fruition. However, we did get a chance to see, before it was all said and done, a hell of a horse race. And when it was all over with, Rich Strike gets the win. And then it just kind of went on from there. Tis the Bomb, which we were kind of going back and forth about, ended up way down the board. Summer is Tomorrow. That got out to a start of, like I said, a blink of an eye for just a second. The horse that Ben Kenny chose ended up coming in dead last. Yep. My horse, Happy Jack, by the way, was not within the top 5 either. It was way down the list. But Rich, who knew? Who knew Rich Strike would end up winning the whole damn thing, Ben?
Bill, I will say, losing the money I put on that horse, Summer's Tomorrow, it was worth him being in first for a third of the race. You know?
Yeah.
It was worth the sweat, but then at last. But it was crazy. I mean, I said on Friday, I'm not the biggest Derby fan because usually I feel like the guys that are the lowest odds, all the favorites are the ones that are there at the end. I haven't seen something like that ever.
Right? It was amazing. Amazing. I mean, look, I know that they're doing all the blood tests and they're making sure that Rich Strike, is doing it all legal and such. But wow, what a race. What a race. And when it was funny because we were sitting there, we did the Kentucky Derby thing. Over the weekend, and I posted one picture. Kristen and I, we did dress up. We did get Derby fared, so to speak. So I posted a picture over on the Facebook fan page. But we're sitting there watching because their duck race, which was really cool, by the way, for charity. Their duck race took place at 4:30, and then we had the rest of the afternoon to get ready and watch. We were sitting in the bar watching the beginning of the Kentucky Derby. And as Rich Strike was being walked to the starting gate, I had turned to, there's a guy named Jim, a longtime listener, and I've known Jim and his wife for a long time. Jim sitting next to me, I said, look at that. That horse is just amped up. Look at that, because that horse was bobbing its head and just all over the place. And at the end of the race, I mean, I kept wanting to say to the guy that was hanging on to the horse, let the horse go. Did you see the end of that when they were trying to get a hold of the horse of Rich Strike?
Yeah, he was going crazy.
Oh my God. He had the guy, both horses were raising up and he was going crazy. And I thought, which led me, unfortunately, in the world of horse racing, and Bob Baffert just most recently being banned for this, it leads you to believe that the horse is on something. It's like, what is wrong with this horse? He's just amped, man. It's like he's had 10 Red Bulls. And so anyway, he starts trying to, eat at like the other horse. He's nipping at the horse's neck. But Rich Strike is all over the place. And I turned to my buddy Jim. I said, watch that horse win it. And then we said, there's no way he's 80-1. That ain't happening, But he's probably too amped up. And by the time they go to the starting gate and go, boom, you're off, it's not going to happen. And then sure enough, this was the sound of the Kentucky Derby as the horses rounded the last turn and down the stretch they come.
In 1 minute, 10 and 4/5 seconds, and now Epicenter comes splitting horses and is moving up quickly as Crown Pride takes the lead around the far turn. It is Crown Pride battling with Messier. They're stride for stride. Epicenter and Zozo's in behind them. Cyberknife swings up to the outside. Sandon gets the rail run, and they're into the stretch. It is Messier, Crown Pride, then Epicenter is coming up on the outside. Epicenter has taken the lead. lifted. Reach strike is coming up on the inside. Oh, my goodness. The longest shot has won the Kentucky Derby.
Unbelievable. The one thing we didn't get there is the long time, and I think his name's Mike Battaglia. The long-time announcer for the Kentucky Derby is when they round the last turn, and he gets the traditional, and down the stretch they come. And we didn't get that via the television side of things. However, Rich Strike, the second longest shot in history of the Kentucky Derby to win that race. Don Rail won it back in 1913 at 91-1. Amazing. An amazing, amazing race. So we saw that over the weekend, and the Bucks battled and fought and did everything they could, and they got a win. They eked it out, 103-101. And that last-second flurry off of the free throw line was amazing, and Giannis doing the mean mug and pumped up. And they've now won 2 out of the last 3 against the Celtics. They've done it without Chris Middleton. Can this team win again tonight? And dare I say, do they win it in 5? Not Bucks in 6, but Bucks in 5. So all of that. Packers had a rookie minicamp over the weekend. And it was an exciting sports-filled weekend. Yesterday, spent the day. I didn't do a whole lot yet. What'd you do yesterday, Ben?
I was a little bit too hungover, and I sat on my couch. Watched a lot of baseball.
Yeah.
Had some golf on, and then I went out. We walked 9 around 5 o'clock. I love when it's summer and the sun sets at 8 and you've done nothing during the day. You're like, yeah, let's just go walk around for a couple hours.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
Yeah, it was a nice week. We ended up, Kristen had her kids, so we took her kids for Mother's Day down to Chicago. I have never, now in Chicago, I've been to Chicago a lot. I have never done Navy Pier. I have never done Grant Park. I've never done the Bean. I've never done any of that stuff. And so we ended up going to Navy Pier, which Navy Pier it's the Ferris wheel. That's about it. There's not a whole lot there. So we parked at Navy Pier, and she wanted to start walking. First of all, I didn't wear like walking shoes, so to speak. It wasn't like I was, in bad shoes or anything, but, jeans and stuff. And we started walking. So we walked from Navy Pier down to the fountain at Grant Park, up Michigan Avenue, where we finally ended up stopping and getting a place to grab some lunch. And then from there, shopping down Michigan Avenue, and then walk back to Navy Pier. You kind of do your steps on your Fitbit or whatever, And by the time the day was all said and done, I had walked 6.1 miles. That's how far, we kind of walked yesterday. So, but we had a great time. A lot of pictures and all that kind of stuff. And, it was her Mother's Day. So she took the kids shopping at Adidas and took the kids shopping at Legoland and over at Under Armour and all that kind of stuff. So it was fun. We had a good time yesterday. Didn't watch a lot yesterday. Watched a little basketball last night when we got back about 6:30. But man, oh man, what a weekend of sports. And Saturday was fantastic. Saturday started at about noon. And I think by the time we got home, it was like 11:30, something like that. Watched the Bucks game, watched the Brewers game, watched the horse race and everything that went on. So what a weekend of sports, all jam-packed. So we got some stuff coming up today. We're going to get Mo Egger from Cincinnati, our affiliate, our friendly affiliate down there at ESPN Radio. And we'll get his thoughts on, by the way, the Reds won 2 out of 3 over the weekend. You see that? Break up the Reds. Holy crap.
Don't let them get hot.
Wow. So the Reds won 2 out of 3 over the weekend. So all of a sudden they feel like, who knows? Maybe they don't stink as bad, I guess, might be for lack of a better term. The Brewers lost 2 out of 3 over the weekend. Brewers still in first place in the National League Central, 2.5 games up on St. Louis, sitting there at 19-10. But the Mets have taken over the top spot in the National League with 20 wins on the season. They are 20-10. Meanwhile, you've got the LA Dodgers that are 19-7 on the season. So those 3 teams battling for the best record in the National League and really the best record overall for that matter. And so you got the Brewers taking on the Reds coming up tonight. The Reds win 2 over the weekend. They are now 5-23, still the worst team in all of Major League Baseball. They stink on ice, but we'll find out more about that whole situation coming up here in a little bit. Also, Bill Huber is going to join us. So we're going to talk with him about the Packers rookie minicamp. I think Mike Clemens is going to be joining us today, too. Mike's going to do some stuff with us. Also, Scott Grodzky, CBS 58, is going to be here. We'll talk with him about this Buck series and what's coming up tonight, what we should expect out at the Fiserv Forum. Big crowd on Saturday down at the Fiserv. Oh, my goodness. They had a great crowd down in the Deer District. They're expecting another good crowd down there tonight, albeit it's going to be windy, really windy. And wind coming off the lake, it's drastically different out where I live versus near the lake. Yesterday, on Saturday, it was 71 degrees at the house. And when we went to the Kentucky Derby thing over in Grafton, it was a whopping 59 with some breeze coming off the lake. Little cool, but it was perfect. I mean, it was really good weather, just good to get out and enjoy yourself and take some time outdoors. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Yes, I did. Ben, you are correct. The Reds got 2 wins over the weekend. I neglected to mention that they were both against the Pirates. So the way it was best described as I was listening it might have been last night, was the way it was like the Reds, the way they were talking in Cincinnati. The Reds are a 4th grader playing high school and college teams for the most part. And then over the weekend, they finally faced another 4th grader. And they got a couple of wins. So that's kind of the way it shook out. That's the way they're looking at it in Cincinnati. And I can't wait to get Mo Egger on towards the end of the show today to talk a little bit about that. Taylor wants to know how much longer they're going to allow this physical play to go on before this series ends and gets a little bit out of hand. And then Complicated Fella says, new morning show in La Crosse. What up with that? I just heard about it last night, as a matter of fact. I just heard about it last night. I get it. And then Douglas says, I hope that the horse tests clean. I hate it if the race wasn't official. Bucks need to win tonight, keep home court. Brewers need to play better and had way too many errors over the weekend. That I agree with. They had a lot of their own issues were self-induced. Although yesterday they only couldn't muster hits. So yesterday was kind of a tough day for them. 877-867-1670. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. They are the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. And they've got the hard colas out now. Oh my God, the classic cola, the cherry cola. They've got orange sodas as well. Citrus sodas, so all kinds of good stuff. And basically the best part about it is 0 sugar, so you're not going to get all big and fat doing it. So check out our friends from Bud Light and the Bud Light hard sodas that are so good. They have the Bud Light seltzers as well. Good stuff from them. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, come back, start taking your phone calls, and a little bit more about this Buck series coming up tonight. I want to get into that discussion. Like I said, later on, we're going to talk some Packers as well. Scott Grodzky from CBS 58 is going to join us today to talk more Bucks. We got all kinds of stuff coming up today, but that physical play down at the Fiserv Forum on Saturday, that warrants a little bit of discussion. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Playoff basketball, and it's going to be a little bit more physical. If you're about that, you're about that. If you're not, you're going to shy away from it, but I thrive through physicality.
Thoughts and prayers to the other side of that collision.
Whoa. Contact. Giannis puts it in. He stuck his hand in there. He might get it ripped off. Backing down Tatum. Giannis, again, just toying with everybody.
I live or die with it. It made me who I am. Just being aggressive, just playing with the edge.
Welcome back to the program. Ume Udoka. And Udoka, I tell you what, man, his team has got his team is getting pounded on. It's a physical contest between both between both the Celtics and the Bucks. And his team just foul after foul after physical play, complaining and whining to the officials and just all the bitching and moaning that's going on. And this thing's just gotten extremely physical. He was saying that after the ball game that at times they were giving up at least 2 to 3 baskets just because they were complaining to the refs. And he said his team's got to quit crying about it. And you're not going to. Giannis has burgeoned into a true superstar. Now, whether it's just Giannis, Brook Lopez can be physical. Brook Lopez can play some physical basketball. Bobby Portis can play some. Bobby Portis doesn't take a whole lot of crap from anybody. Bobby Portis can play some physical basketball as well. But in the grand scheme of things, it's been a really, really physical series between these two teams, which personally I love. The no calls on Giannis. The way I look at it is this. Giannis is tough to defend because he likes to be what he calls get skinny. So if you're going to defend him, it's one thing if he runs you completely over. Squares up, shoulders, bang, right into your chest, down you go. Okay, that I understand. But if he's going to try to go around you and you don't have a foot in front of him, he's going to squirm around you and you're going to go down. And there's nothing that you can do about it. But the big Euros, again, we've seen this before. We saw it with LeBron. We saw it with Jordan. Certain players are always going to get the benefit of the doubt unless it's completely and blatantly obvious. It's just what it is. So, and also don't forget, there was a huge disparity in free throw attempts. Now, part because the Bucks were getting to the basket. They were dropping it down. But don't act like you're not getting to the free throw line. I think this is tonight. If the Bucks get up, look for this thing to get chippy. If the Bucks get up, say the Bucks are up by 10. Look for this thing to start getting chippy, especially down the stretch. If the Bucks get a sizable lead down the stretch, look for it to get really chippy. That's when you might start seeing a couple of frustration shots start to come out. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Mike says, how much do you think Skip Bayless's and Michael Wilbon's comments regarding no calls on Giannis, will it affect the refs going forward? I think so. I think maybe once. You're not going to get a consistent dose of calls against Giannis, but I think there may be one, maybe two that, could kind of throw the salvo over the bow, if you will, that Giannis they're going to watch him a little more closely. But Skip Bayless, like, who cares? I don't know a whole lot of officials or umpires or what have you that hold Skip Bayless's commentary in high regard. I don't know anybody that does. Every now and then, Skip will make a point and you'll go, okay, there's some logic to that. But a lot of the time, Skip Bayless is the largest windbag on the face of the planet. There are times you can look at Stephen A. Smith and say that, but Stephen A. Smith, for the most part, he knows his stuff and he's on point. And he'll eat his words. He'll come back and say, I was wrong. Whereas Skip Bayless, he's just Skip. You just go to a corner and pontificate to yourself. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Want to hit us up. So tonight, I think it becomes chippy if the Bucks have a big lead. If not, it is going to be physical and tightly contested and possibly tightly called down the stretch. I don't want to say that officials are going to make the distinction of who wins and who loses, but I want to see how the game's going to. You'll know early how this game's going to be officiated tonight. What credence you're going to put into certain calls. Maybe they're going to say, okay, we're going to tighten it up a little bit just so this thing doesn't get too far out of hand. Personally, I love it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This is Giannis talking about the officiating.
How much does it cost if I say something, a comment about the ref? Is it 20,000? It's a lot. It's a lot of money. So I should not do it. I wouldn't do it. I save my money. Gotta pay for diapers.
How much is he gonna what?
He said, how much would it cost?
Yeah.
He said around 20,000. He said, all right,
okay,
I'll save my money. I got to pay for diapers.
Right. In other words, he's not happy with it either. But that's the best, is when neither side is happy with the officiating. That's when you're getting it right. Either one, they're letting you play and everybody's hacking the hell out of everybody, and you know it going in, or two, it's completely one-sided. Well, both sides are complaining. So you can do one of two things. If you're the officials, keep calling it the same, or you can tighten it up on both sides and say, we're not going to allow this to get out of hand. So I'm going to be really interested in, say, the first 5, maybe 10 minutes of this game today to see how tightly they're going to call this thing. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Here's the head coach of the Celtics talking about his team, whining, complaining, biatching about the officiating.
Yeah, we obviously pride ourselves on that end to keep playing through things like we did throughout the game. But, at times we gave up at least 2 or 3 baskets that I noticed where we're complaining a little bit to the refs, and they're getting out and getting threes. Connaughton got one and Portis got one. So as much as they're going to let you play, we got to play through that and have our composure. And if they're going to call it that way consistently on both ends, we got to play through it and, not bitch about calls and get back.
That's it. Got a couple of threes because of it, and that's going to be probably his message tonight. Guys, don't get caught up in the officiating. If you don't get it, you don't get it. Move on. Great Day says, I just wish we didn't have to hear about the Boston fan base whining about everything, whether it's the Red Sox, the Pirates, or Patriots, Celtics. Their fan base always feels like the refs are out for them. Come on, though. Aren't we the same way? Up until the Bucks won a championship, didn't we feel that the officiating was against them? Didn't we feel that the NBA did not want Milwaukee to win a championship? Go back to 2001, 2002, when Scotty Williams got yanked off that plane and they ended up losing to the Philadelphia 76ers because they wanted to see Allen Iverson and the Sixers going against Kobe and Shaq. That's what we knew they wanted. We didn't think they ever wanted Milwaukee in this, so we always had that chip on our shoulder. We get it. We get it. But you're right. But every fan base whines and bitches and complains. Everybody feels the Packers get all the calls. All the time. Packers get all the calls. Just like when Brady got hit, Brady gets all the calls. Everybody knows. When Peyton Manning played, Peyton Manning got all the calls. You know, all that kind of stuff. If you're not complaining about, put it this way, Cowboys fans complain all the time about calls. Oh, my goodness. And if you weren't watching Twitter last night with Chris Paul fouling out of that game, oh, my goodness. You want to talk about a fan base complaining and whining and bitching. There was a couple of calls that were legit, especially late in the game when they ended up fouling them out. Those were legit. Maybe one or two of the calls early on might have been, somewhat questionable. But some of them were ticky-tack on Chris Paul, but they bounced him out of that one. Luka took advantage. So you talk about fan bases complaining and whining and biatching about foul calls. And then the 76ers, Ben, with the Beard gets a win. Who knew the Beard would give him a win last night and actually step up and play decent basketball and act like he actually could shoot, going back to the Houston Rocket days of being able to shoot?
I never thought I'd see that in my life watching him on the Sixers, honestly.
Nobody thought that he had that left in his game.
No, it came out of nowhere. He hasn't scored that many points in months, like 5-6 months,
right?
Let alone in the playoffs. So it's Houston regular season Harden that showed up because Houston playoff Harden hasn't really done the job,
right? Man,
but it was impressive. I mean, if he can bring something like that makes the East a little more interesting.
Yes, it is. Yeah, if he can bring that. And they had some piece players there last night, too. We'll get more into that when we come back. But Harden dropping 31, 7 boards and 9 assists. Who knew that he would do that kind of stuff from last night? And that, by the way, snapped his 13-game streak under 25 points, which was the second longest in his playoff career. So who knew that he still had it left in him? 877-867-1670. Speaking of phone numbers, here's a phone number for you, 715-870-2119. That's our buddy from Dwayne's Cover It All, the best in Wisconsin at Canvas Upholstery, boat cover provider, kind of fixing up maybe your office furniture. If you got some gym equipment you need re-leathered, things like that, he can do it. Get a hold of our buddy Dwayne, D-U-A-N-E-S. Dwayne's Cover It All. Wisconsin's best canvas upholstery boat cover provider. Maybe you're a business. You want to do the canvas upholstery out or the canvas cover out in front of your awning, out in front of your business. Bam, get it done. 715-870-2119. 715-870-2119. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Summer in Wisconsin means one thing, racing. And there's no better place to be than Road America in beautiful Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. From the screams of the Indy cars to the thunder of NASCAR, they will all be flying around the scenic road course that is Road America. Gather up your family, your friends, bring your clients, your coworkers. There's nothing like the experience of feeling the roar of racing up close. For tickets and the entire event calendar, go to roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
And after, or for that matter, catch the shuttle and head down to the Fiserv Forum. That's from our friends at Stenny's, second to National Walker's Point. Tell them down there we said hi. But good people, good stuff. And if you're going to check out the game tonight, they get a really, really, really good Bucks crowd down there. Really good Bucks crowd down there. So head down there tonight, maybe watch the game, and if not, if you got tickets, catch the shuttles. Head over to the Fiserv Forum via Stenny's. Let them do the driving. Now we don't have to worry about parking or anything like that. Good stuff down there. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. By the way, and I have not mentioned it yet, Ben, now you watched some of this. But the Formula One race over the weekend was an enormous hit. Did you see that they had Jordan and Brady and I think it was Beckham? I don't know who else was there. They were all taking pictures. It was like a who's who of the sporting world and show business down there for the Formula One race over the weekend.
Yeah, I liked it. I had it on and off. One thing I was amazed at is the same way that the Kentucky Derby announcer is very passionate and screaming throughout that whole thing, but that's 2 minutes. The Formula One guy was yelling at every single move, every maneuver for the entire 2 to 3 hours. I didn't really get how he did that, but that's an Englishman. But I was impressed. I still don't know much about strategy or really anything that goes into it, but it looked cool.
What amazed me, and this is completely off the racing topic. Did you see the boat display they had down there in the middle of the track?
No.
They had made, and I don't know how they did it. Apparently, they had taken these boats, these massive yachts and cruisers. One of the boat dealers down there did this, and they had bought the advertising package to be able to do this. So they had put these boats in and had custom cut acrylic to make it look like water around these boats, these massive boats, and made it look like a pond right in the middle of a parking lot. So the above shot, you were like looking around, and because I know the area, we've been there. Mike Clemens and I were there for the Super Bowl, and there's no water right there. But yet they made it look like these massive yachts, 6, 7, 8 of them, how many ever there were sitting in water. And so I went to the Miami Herald. I was reading a little bit about that. They had this acrylic that was cut around the boats to make it look like water for their boat display. I was just stunned. I've never seen anything like that. That's how much money they poured into advertising for this Formula One race, because this was... One, it was worldwide, the broadcast itself. And, the people overseas are looking at this, and they are trying to, do as much advertising for here in the States as they can. But they put a ton of money into advertising for this thing. And the boats from the overhead shots were unbelievable. Because I'm thinking to myself, they have got, because at first I thought, wait a minute, they got a pond now? They built a pond in the middle of the parking lot of the Hard Rock Stadium? And no, they actually made it like 2-foot acrylic. I can't imagine what it weighed, but these 2-foot acrylic pieces that they all then shoved together around these boats to make it look like the boats were actually sitting in water, and they weren't. I was like, wow, that's doing something right there. That's going all out.
The camera work in races like that. Now in NASCAR, it seems to be easier because it's the same turns and the same structure. The camera work to catch the action there is crazy. Have you seen the video that broke social media yesterday?
No.
Of Martin Brundle, who is a Sky Sports guy, interviewing Paulo Banchero, who just left Duke. He was at Duke last year. He thought he was Patrick Mahomes.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh. I have the audio from it. It was as soon as this happened, people lost their minds because they had all the English TV people come over and do like a simul broadcast because no one here, is an F1 person. But yeah, here it is.
This is crazy. I've never been to an F1 race. This is spectacular.
It's amazing to be allowed right in the middle of the competitors just before the race starts.
Yeah, now you can see they locked in. It reminds me of myself. The real focus.
Okay, it's not Patrick. That's why he ignored me in the beginning. But what is your name, sir?
Paulo Banchero.
Right, okay. Well, I thought I was talking to somebody else. So I'm sorry about that. Whatever.
Okay, well, there you go. Just a case of mistaken identity. Sorry about that. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
We need more Englishmen doing those live interviews in this country.
Right? At least he admits it. At least he admits it,
Oh, he walked away. He said, whatever.
Right? Oh, that's awesome. That's good stuff. Have you ever seen, completely off topic, but they always do the man on the corner interviews. Have you ever seen that one where the guy, and he's always something crazy, and then he usually yells out something vulgar? Have you ever seen that? No. It's the same guy. He was in the Cincinnati area for a while, and then he started branching out into other areas. He was wherever there was crime or what have you. It's like he shows up, And he was at a Halloween costume contest or something where something happened. And they said, sir, what did you notice when you were standing here when this whatever happened? And he always, in the minute he takes his mask off, it's like, oh, my God. So.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yes, that guy.
Of course.
Puncher. Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. That guy. People always mistake him. It's like the Joe on the street. How you doing? You saw what happened. What happened? And he starts to talk about it, well, right over there. And then he just looks right at the camera and then says it. And it's coming, man. Every time you see this guy pop up, you're like, oh my God, he should be like on a most wanted poster for every sport or every news anchor or every news reporter that's out on the street. So if you see this guy coming, you never put him on, because it's going to happen on live TV. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. But what a tremendous event the F1 race was. Another thing that's coming up this week is the schedule release for the NFL. That's another thing. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, they were dropping some Monday nights tonight. So we're going to have that coming up this week as well. So we got a lot to look forward to. Bucks this week, Brewers this week, NFL schedule release this week. So we got a lot of good stuff happening. Dan says, I look forward to the Bucks getting a win tonight. I think it's going to be an even more physical game that the refs are going to have to take control of. Boston feels that they were beat up. They're going to come back and try to take the first punch. You got to see the refs get involved early to settle this thing down, or it could get really ugly by the end of the night, which, Dan, I agree with. That I 100% agree with. This is Mark. Mark, by the way, Mark listening to us in WKTY in La Crosse. And Mark says, sorry to see your buddy Dave go. Love the morning show this morning. A lot of entertainment. What do you think is going to happen with the Bucks if they decide to take the physicality to Boston tonight? Does Giannis get a couple of early fouls, and does that change the game? Depends on what he does. I get the sense, first of all, just because Boston's complaining about it and the Bucks are complaining about it, I don't think anything changes. It's going to be either called tight or it's going to be just let them play, but I think it'll be called relatively fair. And it's never going to be fair in the sense that you're going to feel good about it coming out of it, because you're always going to complain about something. They're too big, they're too strong, they're too fast. It just happens. Okay, you got three human beings on the court. We can see it in real time. And as far as the videos go, so we know that it's going to be different. But I think the only way the officials become a part of this game is if the game begins to get out of hand. I just don't. And I would look more so for this thing to be officiated differently, maybe down the stretch. If the Bucks have, well, if either team for that matter, but if the Bucks have a larger lead and the Celtics are really feeling it as if, oh my goodness, this thing's slipping away and we're getting blown out or what have you, you may see some physicality, dirty play, we'll say. And I'm not saying that the Celtics are a dirty team. I'm just saying they feel that they've been slighted. They feel they've been beat up. They've done nothing but bitch and complain about every call that hasn't gone against them or hasn't gone in their favor, I should say. They've just whined about it. And if they feel that they're being disrespected and they have nothing left to lose, they may take some shots. A lot of teams will do. There's frustration. Look, they're human beings. It is what it is. Stay tuned. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Hey, if you are looking for something spectacular to do coming up, got yourself some additional playoff tickets to go see our friends at the Milwaukee Admirals. Go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. Big weekend as well for the Milwaukee Admirals. We failed to mention. Shame on me. 2 wins, 3-2 on Friday night, 2-1 on Saturday night. They are up 2-0 on the Manitoba Moose. How about that? Loving it. The Admirals get a couple of wins over the weekend. They're sitting pretty. They got a game coming up 7 o'clock Central Time on Wednesday night. They are in Winnipeg to take on the Moose. Another one coming up on Friday night, same time. And if necessary, another one coming up on Sunday as well. That would be a 2 o'clock Central Time start, all in Winnipeg. And then after that, they will then roll on. Good stuff for our friends at the Milwaukee Admirals. Go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. That is MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. And glad they got a couple of wins over the weekend. You know what else we failed to mention, and shame on me for not mentioning it. In the game the other day, the Bucs game, Ben, did you see who got some minutes and got a little bit of key defensive play?
No, I might have missed it.
George Hill. He was
Right.
He was only in a few minutes. I mean, it wasn't like he was in for 30 minutes, but he got one shot. But he took a couple of offensive fouls, which was fantastic. And he was one of the guys, one of the coaches on the floor. I've said this before. He was one of the coaches on the floor when the last couple of minutes and then on that last defensive stand was made. He's that guy. So good for him for coming back 11 minutes total off the bench. And like I said, he had one shot, one assist, took a couple of offensive fouls. And he was on the floor to defend that last possession as the Celtics had, kind of hoped to tie it up. But no, it's good to see George Hill come back. Good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Now you wonder how he felt on Sunday, and you wonder how many minutes they're going to kind of restrict him to coming up tonight if indeed they need him. But it was good to see George Hill back on the floor. Good stuff. 877-867-1670. I want to hear from you. If you got some comments coming up tonight about the contest between the Bucs and the Celtics, good stuff. I want to also get it on if you think it's going to be a more physical game, or do the officials play a bigger role in this and start calling it really, really tight? What is going to be the tendency tonight between these two teams, and then throw the officiating into the mix? Also, Scott Grodzki, CBS 58, going to join us after the top of the hour. Going to talk some more about this contest between the Bucks and the Celtics as well. Don't forget, we got some more Brewers talk coming up. Going to talk with Mo Egger from ESPN Radio in Cincinnati. Going to find out the skinny on the Cincinnati Reds as they get a couple of wins over the weekend, but they did it over a terrible Pittsburgh Pirates team. Those two teams fighting to kind of stay out of the basement of the National League Central right now. Although the Reds just own it, they're just a bad baseball team. This is from Mark, who says, I think the Bucks get a win tonight. They hold home court advantage, and then they head back to Beantown. Meanwhile, the Brewers get healthy again in Cincinnati as the wind blowing out of Great America. I don't know. Great America, they're going to be warm down there, though. I know that. They're talking about the possibility. Like today, I think it's upper 70s, low 80s. But I know during the week, they're going to hit the 90s this week. So when you start to get warm in that river valley down there, ball starts to fly. You may see another onslaught of home runs like you did at American Family Field down at Great American Ballpark. You can only hope, right? But here's the other thing, and this one's from what Lucy says. Lucy says, it was great to see the Brewers get some wins and get off to a fast start after stumbling a little bit out of the blocks. But are they only going to beat up on bad teams? The Atlanta Braves, we know they are a good team and had some revenge factor from last year, but did not make the Brewers' weekend. Lucy, appreciate the email. I kind of get what you're saying, though. The Brewers had a revenge factor going in from last year and what happened down in Atlanta, and they didn't hit the ball nearly as well. It wasn't the home run onslaught that you had kind of hoped for. You were hoping that the Brewers were just going to keep on plowing through. First of all, to put up those kind of numbers and to expect that would be ridiculous, because the Brewers were just drilling the baseball against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's pitching's terrible. And by the way, Malley, did you see Malley threw again for Cincinnati? And he ended up throwing like 101 pitches in 4 2/3 innings. Again, same thing he did here. Can't pitch where the damn can't throw the ball for a strike. But the Brewers, when you talk about their weekend scores and what they were able to accomplish, Friday night, not a bad night. When they got the win, you take it, for what they did. They pounded out 6 runs on 11 hits. You're thinking this is great. Eric Lauer got another win. Hader gets another save. We're mowing right along. You knew at some point things were going to slow down. At some point. And then the Braves got the best of them. They were only able to muster 7 hits, and a couple of them situational. They plated a couple of runs, but for the most part. And then Corbin Burns, poor Corbin Burns, didn't get the run support. Him and Woodruff have been on and off when it comes to run support throughout the season. But Urias continues to stay hot. Holy mackerel, since he's come back. He was again 2 for 4 on Saturday. He's hitting up over 353 as it is. But yeah, it's they didn't pound out the hits the way they were certainly here at home. That's for damn sure. But the way I look at it too, Christian Yelich, he's again 1 for 4. He continues to stay hot. He continues to hit the baseball. His slugging percentage is up to 449. His average is over 250 now. His on-base percentage still sitting just under 350. I mean, Yelich has really started to come on. So knock on wood, as we do right now, just to say that he can, because if he stays hot and they continue to play good baseball and in that top of the lineup, they continue to stay hot. Got to be happy with that. Colton Wong even got a base knock. Colton Wong was batting at the bottom of the lineup on Saturday. Colton Wong getting that base knock as well. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Corbin Burns starts this season. The Brewers are 2-4. And yet he's got a 1.86 ERA. It's amazing. Just the victim of a lack of run support. Last year was pretty much Brandon Woodruff. Woodruff wasn't getting any support at all. And now this year, Corbin Burns is that guy. By the way, Adrian Wojnarowski, just a little while ago, said that the rumors are that Nikolai Jokic has been voted the NBA's most valuable player. His raw stats were even better this year from last year. Averaged a career high of 27.1 points per game, 13.8 boards per game. Also averaged 7.9 assists per game. That was good for 8th in the league. He became the first player in NBA history with 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists in a season. And the Denver Center did it all. So it looks like he is going to be a back-to-back winner of the NBA's MVP award. So there you go. It's not going to be Giannis. Maybe Giannis carries that as a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder throughout the remainder of the series with the Celtics. There you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Good article by Adam McCalvey talking about the need of run support for Corbin Burns. We'll get into that coming up a little bit later on. But we're going to talk some more Bucks basketball when we come back. Scott Grodzki, CBS 58, he's going to be joining us. Stay tuned for all of that. Our friends at Quick Trip want to remind you they have the Jack Lynx car they're giving away. And if you are looking for a new vehicle, this might be a way to get it. A Camaro SS, Chevy Camaro SS with a Quick Trip 250 Pepsi Pit Stop presented by Jack Links. Now, you purchase any participating Pepsi, Rockstar, or Jack Links product with their Quick Trip Rewards app, and you're going to earn automatic entry. It's that simple. That simple. Who couldn't use a brand new car, right? You got the Quick Trip 250 taking place with NASCAR. They're going to come roaring into Road America around the 4 Mile Road course. Cannot wait for that weekend. Cannot wait. All kinds of other prizes they're giving away, too. Stop in the Quick Trip. Use your Quick Rewards card. You're good to go. Scott Grodzki, CBS 58, going to join us. Coming up next on The Bill Michaels Show.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Saturday afternoon saw the Milwaukee Bucks take a 2-1 series lead in the Eastern Conference second round as they would beat the Boston Celtics 103-101 behind 42 points from Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, Game 4 is tonight at the Pfizer Forum, and head coach Mike Budenholzer says Giannis Antetokounmpo needs to keep up the physicality.
The physicality that he takes in a game, the hits, to still finish and score and play. But, that's how he's built. He's an incredible player that plays with his teammates, plays the right way, competes, plays through contact, plays through physicality in a big-time way. And he's just got to continue to do that.
Tip-off is tonight at 6:30. To the majors, yesterday the Milwaukee Brewers would fall in the rubber match to the Atlanta Braves 9-2. Starting pitcher Aaron Ashby would go 4 innings, giving up 6 hits and 6 earned runs, while the Brewers' offense could only collect 4 hits. Milwaukee, who still sits first in the NL Central at 19-10, are back at it tonight. Brandon Woodruff takes the mound as the Brewers open up a 3-game series at Cincinnati.
Your work-life balance is important to you, and Sutton Transport agrees. Sutton Transport offers a 5-day work week. Same start times daily, and you'll be home nightly and on weekends. Sutton Transport is now hiring CDL drivers and forklift operators for all shifts. Enjoy some of the best benefits in the industry. Consistent year-round work, twice-a-year wage increases, and enjoy your family time you deserve. That is work-life balance. The road to success is with Sutton Transport. Apply at suttontrans.com.
From the 11 draft picks, 14 undrafted free agents, and those there for tryouts, the Green Bay Packers had their rookie minicamp over the weekend. Their first-round pick, linebacker Quay Walker, talks on what it felt like entering the locker room for the first time.
Kind of nervous a little bit because this is my first time being in Green Bay, or even, coming in here and seeing the facility and everything. So I just stood around the whole place, and that was it. Kind of nervous a little bit, but good type of nervous.
For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Hour number 2 of the Bill Michaels Show, and we are so glad you're with us. How are we looking today? Bill Michaels Show on the air, and you got a lot of good sports, not only over the weekend that we were talking about, but stuff coming up as well. You got the next contest between the Bucks and the Celtics coming up this evening. Game 4 at the Pfizer Forum, and it was a physical contest in Game 3. Bucks walk away with a 2-point victory. To talk more about it, we've got our buddy Scott Grodzki, CBS 58, hanging out with us right now. Scott, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Bill. How you been?
I'm good. So what did you take away from the contest over the weekend, the physical play, and all the complaining about the officiating?
That I'm kind of done hearing about it, but I'm also not done hearing about it because we're going to hear about it a lot the entire rest of the way. I saw the officials came out for Game 4 already, and there's, depending on where you want to look, there's Bucks fans, there's Celtics fans who are both saying game's already over, NBA is rigging it for the other team.
So
it's a lot. The Celtics are flopping. It's also, Giannis is one of the more physical players, so sometimes there are going to be offensive fouls as well. It's just kind of the playoffs, and I'm kind of done with hearing about it, not just for the Bucks, but it's all these series. There's been a lot of it, whether it's Luka, Chris Paul, Draymond Green, Dylan Brooks. There's been a lot of official talk for what has otherwise been a very enjoyable NBA playoff.
Well, Chris Paul fouling out, getting a couple of ticky-tacks early, and then after that, they basically bounced him out of that game yesterday. So they ended up, there was a lot of, I agree with you, there's a lot of talk about the officiating there. Do you think the officials get a hold of this one early and try to say, okay, we're not going to allow the physical play? Or because I'm really interested in the first 5-10 minutes of this contest, what they're going to do. If they're going to allow the physical play to continue and it's just going to be kind of a wide open and they're going to call it the same both sides, or are they going to put the clamps down after being so heavily criticized over the weekend and actually make guys play conform a little bit more, we'll say?
Yeah, I think they might put the clamps down a little bit. I kind of hope they don't. It's the playoffs. I don't want it to be crazy tight called. But whatever it is, I hope what they do in the first 5 or 10 minutes, because they don't live in a vacuum. They know that there's a microscope on the officiating right now in the whole playoffs and certainly in the series after Game 3. So they're going to set the tone in the first 5 minutes, whether it's a tight ship or the opposite. I just hope that it stays consistent throughout the game. And I hope that, if we're talking in 2 days to get ready for Game 5, I hope that the first couple questions aren't about officiating one way or the other. And that's totally fair that is the questions, because that's what people are talking about right now. But it's a shame. It really is, because it was a great game yesterday or 2 days ago.
Who do you think right now we know the Bucks in wins have the edge, but if you're the Celtics, do you feel good about where you're at right now, the way you've played?
No, I think at this point the Bucks have home court. The Bucks are 2 wins away. You don't know if Middleton could come back later in the series. I don't necessarily think he will, but maybe for a Game 7 he could. And it's now been, if this was the first game and the Celtics lost this game where they were in it until the end, they had a great fourth quarter comeback and Jason Tatum was absolutely terrible and they still lost by 2, then maybe I'd feel better. But it's 3 games now, and it's at the point where you can't just shrug off and say, oh, Tatum has been pretty darn bad for 2 of these games, he'll get it together. There's something to be said for the defense being played on him. I think he was 0 for 10 when Wes Matthews was guarding him yesterday, or gotta stop saying yesterday for a game that was 2 days ago. Sorry. But I believe he was 0 for 10 when Wesley Matthews was guarding him. Drew Holiday has been probably the best defender in the entire playoffs this year. And what the Bucks are doing defensively has worked. And what the Celtics are doing defensively has worked as long as it has been allowed. When they aren't getting the foul calls the way they want to, and when Giannis isn't in trouble, he goes for 42. So I don't think that the Celtics can feel good about where they are right now. I don't think they necessarily have to think it's over either. But I would certainly feel better where the Bucks are than where Boston is.
It was interesting. I was reading, I was watching it, obviously, and I was reading in the paper about, obviously having George Hill back. And he only played 11 minutes, only put up 1 shot, didn't make one. We all know that. But had an assist. And then he drew a couple of offensive fouls in that contest. And he was on the floor defensively. I've always said he's kind of coming out of that Popovich system, coming out with Budenholzer out of the Popovich system. He's kind of that coach on the floor, so to speak. What does he add? And again, we're talking about a very minimal piece player, but I've always said that he's kind of that calming influence that even Giannis goes to ask for advice. He's kind of that calming influence, and to see his presence back on the floor was pretty solid for this team.
Yeah, I think he's a good, solid, steady option for those, we'll call it 11 minutes is what it was in Game 3. I wouldn't like to see much more than that. Obviously, he's not in his prime right now. He's not a heck of an offensive threat, especially if the shot isn't falling, which this year it wasn't like it was 2 years ago when he was one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. I think I was kind of wrong. I kind of figured after how well Javon Carter played that, I was definitely in the camp of when George Hill comes back, still get Javon Carter those minutes first. Hill played pretty well against Boston 2 days ago, and Hill played to his role, and that's one of the best things that a role player can do is understand their role. And George Hill, certainly through his time in the NBA, knows exactly what he is at this point in his career. And as long as you're not asking him to play 25 minutes, you're not asking him to be a major offensive threat, he can be a solid contributor for something between 5 to 12 minutes a game.
Talking with Scott Grotzky, CBS 58 in Milwaukee, joining us on the hotline. We know Giannis is always going to be on. I said he was due for one of those 30-plus point games, and he busted out. He ends up dropping 42 on him, gets 12 boards, 8 assists in that contest. Brook Lopez, we finally saw some scoring from Brook Lopez, which is huge. Now, he didn't take a shot beyond the three-point line, but at least he was 50% from the field, and then Drew Holiday stepped up as well. So to see those three kind of back at it was huge. But I like the fact that Pat Connaughton was shooting the ball pretty well again. The one thing that I would like to see, Grayson Allen, since game one, has not been relatively offensively existent. And it did not have a point again in the game the other day. Are you concerned about Grayson Allen's shooting prowess right now?
No, I wouldn't say I'm concerned. I would say Grayson Allen is Grayson Allen. He's going to be streaky at times. He's not going to be the guy he was for those 2 games in Chicago throughout the playoffs. That's just not sustainable. But he is a solid player who does play much harder on defense than he gets credit for, because, whenever anyone talks about Grayson Allen, you immediately go to what he was at Duke. And he wasn't a good defensive player there. And he did have the reputation he had there. He's a much better defensive player than he gets credit for now. And I think that, to me, the best play he made in that game yesterday, he got blocked on a 3 with, I think, like 5 seconds left in the shot clock. It was not a good 3 to take. It was not a good possession, but he didn't give up on the play. He immediately went back to backcourt, got the ball, got it to Drew, and Drew made a 3 right at the shot clock buzzer. That was kind of one of those early turning points in the game. I think that he's found a way to make an impact even when he's not scoring. So you're not going to take him out. And then when he does score, you can ask the Bulls how much of an impact he can make on a series when he's hot.
Do you think Marcus Smart is still ailing?
Do I think he's what?
Do you think he's still ailing? Do you think he's still banged up?
I don't know. I think Marcus Smart plays so physically that I don't know that there's ever a time outside of the preseason when he's not ailing with something.
Right.
I think that, and that you can look at that as a good thing or a bad thing. In some way, does he ask for contact and try to find contact and try to flop from contact? He does. On the other side of things, he really is one of the most physical players in the NBA, if not the most. He's the kind of guy like a PJ Tucker, where I know Bucks fans are not big fans of Marcus Smart right now. If Marcus Smart was on this team, Bucks fans would love him.
Mm-hmm.
He is a very, very physical, aggressive player. So yeah, I don't know that he's going to be 100% again until October.
What do you see coming up tonight when you start to kind of preview this thing? We know that the Celtics have all the pressure on them. I said if this thing's 10 points or more with a couple of minutes to go, you might, short of desperation, you might look for this thing to get a little bit chippy too, and especially if the Boston Celtics feel like they're not getting the calls, so they figure, why the hell not? This thing might get a little chippy before it's all said and done, but I don't know if I expect a blowout tonight via the Bucks. I don't, because right now, everybody believes it's a must-win for the Boston Celtics, and even Vegas is pretty much pointing the finger at the Celtics to get a win in this one because the point spread has become so small. But what do you expect coming up tonight?
I think Tatum is going to set the tone for the game. I think that if you see Tatum, as he's sort of a couple years behind Giannis on his trajectory of becoming a superstar, and no, I don't think he'll ever be a 2-time MVP, but he will be and might already be one of the top 10, top 5 players in the league. If he comes out and has one of those games that he's capable of where he scores 30 plus and the rest of the team plays a solid game, then they can win and they can steal one at Fiserv Forum. They're certainly capable of doing that. But if Wesley Matthews and Drew Holiday and the rest of the Bucks defense continues to shut him down, I don't know that Boston can win. I think that Boston played about as solid a game as they could have in Game 3 without Tatum playing well, and they still lost. So I think that he's going to be going a long way towards determining how this game goes. I imagine the Bucks will win. I tend to think it will be close. But we'll see.
What do you think of the 76ers in the Heat series, now tied up at 2 games apiece? We saw James Harden have an emergence last night. Is there a team that matches up better with Milwaukee in the sense of having the ability to beat them than the other, do you believe?
I think Philly probably scares me a little more. I think that Philly has, with Embiid, that's just, in the NBA, you have to be worried if the superstar. You have to be worried if the best player on the court. And in a 7-game series, I think Giannis is the best player on the court against Embiid. but maybe in 2 or 3 of those games he won't be. Embiid is at least capable of beating Giannis, and Embiid is capable of beating the Bucks. Harden, I don't know how much I want to read into what happened yesterday versus what happened the entire rest of the playoffs, but it's not like he's a bad player. He's either a very good player or a great player, depending on which day it is. Tyrese Maxey, I think, is much better than he gets credit for. This is kind of his coming out party in the playoffs right now as a young up-and-coming player, sort of him and Jordan Poole, the Milwaukee kid out in Golden State. The two of them are definitely emerging. And I think with the Heat, I don't know, do they really scare you? Bam Adebayo can't get anything going once Embiid got back into the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Butler obviously is a great playoff player, but the rest of it, I don't know. I mean, we saw what the Bucks did to the Heat last year. 2 years ago in the bubble when the Heat beat the Bucks, Duncan Robinson has played 1 minute in the entire series, and he was on fire against Milwaukee, and for some reason is not really a part of their rotation right now.
Can't find the floor, yeah.
I'm not going to be waking up worrying about Kyle Lowry. It's not 2017. So I think that Philly is the team that would concern me more. But I said before the series starts, I think whoever wins the Boston-Milwaukee series, no matter what, should be the favorite in the conference finals.
I would agree with you. Scott, good stuff. Catch you down at the Fiserv Forum, man. Appreciate it, and we'll talk soon, okay?
See you later, bro.
All right, buddy. Talk it easy. There you go. Our buddy Scott Gronsky, CBS 58. You can find him at Scott Gronsky over on Twitter, at Scott Gronsky over there on Twitter. And if the Bucks win tonight, do we dare say Bucks in 5? The Bucks win tonight, do we dare say Bucks in 5? Get into that discussion coming up. Also, some more Brewers chatter here in a little bit. But yeah, he's when he talks about the 76ers, when you look at the 76ers line, you got Maxey involved a little bit, and Maxey had a big game. Very solid play. We know James Harden went off, no doubt about it. Green had a hell of a game, too. Green dropped 11 yesterday, but more so, he had a couple of big buckets. That one shot that he took over Jimmy Butler, and it gave them a little bit of a boost just before Butler went down, missed a shot, and then they brought the ball back up the floor, and James Harden kind of took over. I thought a couple of guys had some unsung minutes there when it comes to the heroics of the 76ers. Ben, I know you're closer to that than I am, but some of the guys, some of the sub players of Green and Maxey, he discussed. I mean, even Harris to a certain extent. It looks like some of the guys are starting to get a little more involved, especially now that you got Joel Embiid back, you know?
Yeah, Embiid definitely makes them better. I think part of that was at home and they're more comfortable there. It's kind of the same as the Bucks series right now, where the first 2 games, the Sixers did not hit a shot on the road. The Heat won easily. Then the last 2 games, Sixers have made every shot and they've won each game kind of easily. So it's kind of hitting the same breath as the Bucks Celtics are.
When you look at the 76ers in the Heat series, the better team is who, and do you think they beat the Bucks?
I think the better team, if Embiid is healthy, is Philadelphia, no doubt. I mean, when he's on the court, everything changes. And when he's played, the team is won. Do they beat the Bucks? No. No chance.
Okay.
I don't think, at least at this point.
I don't think so. And I think, and I said that at the beginning of the series, so I agree 100% with what Scott Gronsky had to say, that the winner of this series goes on to the NBA Finals. But yeah, I completely concur. I think that that if Embiid's on the floor, I don't think Miami is going to have an answer for his presence. I just don't. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Our friends over at Numel Medical reminding you that, hey, if you want to give them a call, 414-455-4451. And I didn't get a chance to stop over there on Friday. I'm going over today. But they have a whole new kind of a program for the all-in-one weight loss program. They've refined it. They've made it better. And they're getting better and better and better results, too. I sat down and talked with Doc Tim on Friday after the show via phone a little bit, just to kind of get some background on this. And the results are even better. So if you're looking to get into shape, and maybe you just, you're sluggish, you're moody, you're tired, you just run down. Could be low T. If you're over the age of 30, going to get your numbers checked. But if you just want to shed some pounds because the warmer weather's coming, you want to get into that T-shirt season look, right? You want to look better. Not just buy a bigger T-shirt, but you want to look better and feel better. Call our friends over at Numel Medical, 414-455-4451. Again, 414-455-4451 from anywhere Doesn't matter. We've got locations throughout the state of Wisconsin, 401 and beyond the borders for that matter. But call them and they can hook you up from anywhere. You want to get hooked up in Vegas, you can get hooked up in Vegas. Get hooked up in Chicago, get hooked up in Chicago. 414-455-4451. 414-455-4451. That's the Numel Medical Center. Plus, they've got a 98% success rate at treating guys with ED, erectile dysfunction. And they are the originators. They're the ones that do it better than everybody. They're the ones that everybody's trying to emulate. So why not stick with the people that have done it right from day one? That's our friends again at Numel Medical Center, 414-455-4451. 414-455-4451. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
We're back in Judge Gina's court where debate's heating up.
Order.
Sorry, Gina.
That's Judge Gina, and this case is dismissed.
Dismissed?
Come on, guys. Wisconsin's home team. Everyone knows it's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
You got us there, Judge Gina. Can't argue with that.
Others sell only 1 or 2 lines of windows, and both are vinyl. Pella lets you choose from an unbeaten 6 window lines, 2 lines of budget-friendly vinyl windows, 3 lines of luxurious wood, traditional to contemporary, and Impervia, Pella's exclusive never rot fiberglass, engineered to be the strongest window material anywhere, period. Then there's financing to fit any budget. And now, up to $2,500 off an installed patio door, up to $3,000 off an installed entry door. What's left to argue?
Hella now? Pay later. Hella now. Pay
Court's adjourned. With the price of materials rising across the country, don't let your huge savings slip away. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, it's that time. It's that time. Start to look for the Facebook fan page. You can find it over on the Fisher House site as well, fisherhousewi.org. But the motorcycle ride, we announced on Friday everything that's coming up. It continues to get bigger and better. If you haven't checked it out, you can find the Big Units Poker Run over on Facebook. And would love it if you would follow us there and become a fan of that page, because it means so much charitable wise, not only to those that are in the military, those that are veterans families and such. And the motorcycle ride comes up on Sunday, September 4th. Compliments of all of our fantastic friends at Bud Light, Potawatomi Hotel Casino, MKE Brewing, also Wisconsin Harley Davidson, Growth Law Firm, and so much more. But go to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. And if you know somebody who rides, or maybe you ride and you want to be a part of it, you can go there and register online right now. It's cheaper to register online, first of all, for you and your rider, if you've got two that you're going to invest in. And then secondly, the pre-registration prizes are fantastic. And it's only for those who pre-register. There's a Bucks and an Admirals ticket package. There's a Brewers ticket package, Badgers football ticket package, plus the inclusion into a tailgate party. There's a NASCAR and IndyCar ticket package for the 2023 season. So much. Not to mention, if you do happen to win this via the poker hand, you get a large screen TV. There's beer for a year and a whole lot more. So please become a part of it. We would love to have you. And that is the Big Units Poker Run coming up on Sunday, the weekend of Labor Day weekend, Sunday, September 4th. And we ride for the veterans, for military members, their families. That's the least we can do. So if you haven't signed up already, get signed up. It's going to be a good time. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Coming up after the bottom of the hour, Bill Huber from SI.com. Going to talk some Packers rookie mini camp that was held this weekend. Going to get into that discussion. So NBC had a different guy on the call, Mike? Or Ben, I'm sorry.
From what I was just told, Larry Colmus is their new big race guy for NBC.
Oh.
So that's why the classic call wasn't there.
That sucks.
I mean, I thought he was tremendous.
Well, see, I wonder if he was good, but I wonder if because I think it's always been, and I'm not a race aficionado, but I think the longtime voice of the Kentucky Derby was Mike Battaglia. And now for you horse aficionados out there, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought he was the voice of the track. So, and usually what they've done is when the race has started, rather than NBC doing their own race, they say, we now will go over to Mike Battaglia, the official voice of, Churchill Downs. And Battaglia, now, unless he retired, but he's been there as far as I can remember. So maybe he ended up retiring, but that was always the infamous call from, I think, again, it was Mike Battaglia. Correct me if I'm wrong, and somebody out there I'm sure knows better than I do. But it was always, as they came around that last turn, it was always, and down the stretch they come. And when you heard that, it was like it gave you goosebumps when all of that happened. So it was amazing. It was
so
cool.
Battaglia, I have it up now. Battaglia did it in the 80s.
Yes.
From 1981 to 1986. Dave Johnson did it from 87 to 2000. And then Tom Durkin.
Tom Durkin, yes.
Up until 2010. And this guy, Larry Colmus, has done it since 2011.
Okay. But it was Tom Durkin, yes. He was the guy that also kind of emphasized it. But that was always the call. It was like, okay, so Mike Battaglia goes back years and years and years. And that's growing up as a kid, I guess. But man, it was that long ago for Mike Battaglia. Wow. I didn't realize it had been that long. Boy, am I completely out of my mind. But that was always the call, the end, down the stretch they come. And everybody did it. And I was waiting for it. And it never happened. I was even shouting it in the bar, just because the crowd was going crazy in the bar. Everybody's just screaming. But I was waiting for that call. It always gave you goosebumps. Anyway, I've gone on far too long about the calls of horse races, but that was so cool. And to see an 80-1 shot win like that, absolutely fantastic. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to head us up, do so. It shows how out of date I am with horse racing. because I only really pay attention to it for the Kentucky Derby, and then usually the next race. If there's the possibility of a Triple Crown, we pay attention to the last one. So what's the next one up? Is it the Belmont or the Preakness?
Ooh, I have to look that up.
See, that's how I want to say it's the Preakness.
It is.
The Preakness is the next one, and the Belmont is the third leg of the Triple Crown. And so, okay, the Preakness is up next. So the Preakness comes up, and if again we see Rich Strike win that one, then I'll pay more attention to the Belmont. Otherwise, the Belmont Stakes becomes by the way, for many of non-horse enthusiasts, by the way. So
May 21st.
Yeah, it's only a couple of weeks after the Kentucky Derby. I mean, it's not like you have like the 4 championships in golf where they're once a month. The horse races are bang, bang, bang for the most part. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Again, after the bottom of the hour here, coming up here in just a few, we're going to get our buddy Bill Huber in here, and he's going to join us, and we're going to talk with him about the Packers rookie minicamp over the weekend, what he saw, and some of the vibe that he got up in Green Bay near Lambeau. So we'll get into that discussion coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Water Doctors, H2, the letter O, doctors.com. Love the guys over there. Love our buddy John Atley and everybody at the Water Doctors because 2 reasons. One, the product, the Kinetico water softening system, there's nothing better. Nothing better. And because they give back to veterans via the Custom Canine Service Dog Academy. So that's another reason to keep them in mind if you're looking for a water softening system. Call them 262-549-7733, 262-549-7733, or check them out at H2, the letter O, doctors.com, H2ODoctors.com. That's H2ODoctors.com. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show. Going to be joined by Bill Huber talking some Packers football coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They're racing and you don't want to miss it. June 9th through the 12th, it's the NTT IndyCar Series Saucio Grand Prix presented by AMR. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you. Continuing on the Bill Michaels Show. Beautiful. Windy, but beautiful day today. Love it. Sun is out. Feels like it's starting to warm. Feels like spring. And if you're thinking about doing some spring maintenance, not necessarily on your house, but maybe getting your car ready for the summer travel season, that's our friends at J&L Tire Service out there in Johnson Creek, just north of 94. You can see Lyle's shop right there, or up in Watertown. But if you're a soccer mom or an over-the-road driver with a big, massive 18-wheeler, doesn't matter. Go to jnltire.com. They can help you out, whether it's brakes, whether it's oil changes, trailer repair, whatever it happens to be, they can handle it. Go to jnltire.com, and don't forget, they're a great company because they continually give back to the community. Good people. Again, jnltire.com, jnltire.com, just off the highway up there in the Johnson Creek area. You can see it from the road. Let's do this. Let's bring him in, our buddy Bill Huber from SI.com, joining us from Green Bay. And the rookie minicamp was taking place over the weekend. Bill, how you doing, man?
I'm great. How about you?
I'm doing good. So give me your impression as to what you saw this weekend and the vibe.
God, you hate to make too much out of it. You know that, Bill, but it's an impressive looking group. I mean, all those receivers made a lot of plays, especially Romeo Doubs as a downfield guy. Again, this all comes with a caveat that there might not be a legit NFL cornerback on the field, but the receivers got open. The lineman they drafted looks super athletic. Devontae Wyatt, super athletic. Quay Walker, my goodness, he's like a giant out there. So it's an impressive looking guy if you're looking for first impressions. That cliche where that's the first guy I want off the bus on road trips. Yeah, there's a bunch of those.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. So, like you said, you're not going up again. First of all, it's not like you're out there hitting your full speed or anything, but just getting a chance to see guys kind of go out, run around, make a few cuts, do a few things, go up and get a ball, some of the tosses and such. So, I guess what is The rookie minicamp to me is always kind of a guy that finds out about where he's at. He kind of finds out about life after college, coaching staff, the smarts of a guy, if you start to talk to him a little bit. In that realm, does it look like when we talk to these guys, is it a relatively smart, impressive group? Because sometimes it's not necessarily just your God-given ability, but it's also what you have between the ears.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I guess that would be the first impression. I would say that, because of COVID, I don't know how many of these guys ever talk to reporters. I guess we didn't really ask too many of them, but this is probably talking to a whole bunch of reporters live and in person was probably a foreign thing to most, if not all of them. And none of them had that deer in the headlights look of having 10 cameras, 20 microphones shoved in their face. I think that matters. This is big time. I realize that, Georgia's big time too, but I do think there's something to be said for not being too nervous about the whole thing. All these guys seem like they belong from that perspective, where it's not going to be too big for them. Again, it's hard to make too much out of a couple of days, but I thought the impression was good in that regard too.
What did the coaching staff seem to feel after getting a look at these guys first and foremost?
Yeah, it's, it was throwing a bunch of crap at him and seeing what sticks, right? I mean, they're installing a playbook on Friday morning or midday Friday, and they're putting it to use 2 hours later. So I think it's an interesting thing from the coach's perspective to just throw a bunch of stuff at them, see what sticks, see what they can recall, to kind of get their feet wet, because it's good. Once these veterans come in for OTAs here in 2 weeks, they're not going to slow down, right? I mean, these guys are going to have to keep up. I mean, they're going to have, those will obviously go the extra mile to teach the rookies and all, but they're going to be expected to go out there and perform. They're going to expect to go out there to recall what they've been taught and go play, because they're not going to go stop a drill just because Joe Rookie doesn't know what he's doing alongside Alan Lazard, right? They're going to have to run the play. So I think that is the big part of the rookie camp, like you mentioned, Bill, is just kind of getting all that out of the way. So when it is showtime here in 2 weeks, that there'll be some level of comfort.
Is this the time when guys, they get brought into Lambeau Field, they're in the locker rooms and such, and then they get a chance to walk out to the field, they get a chance to look at the stadium, they get a chance to look at the facilities, and they're trying to get through that shock and awe of being drafted into the NFL and drafted into one of the more storied franchises in the National Football League?
Yeah, I mean, for some of those guys, I don't want to diminish Lambeau Field and everything, but if you played at Georgia, you just won a national championship, and I don't know how big their stadium is. They probably host like 90,000 fans. These guys is Devontae White and Quay Walker, are they in awe of anything? I don't know. Now, if you're, I don't know how many fans Romeo Doubs played in Nevada, so maybe it matters to those guys like that, but I don't know. I mean, if you came from a national championship program, I don't know if any of this stuff phases you.
I've talked to guys like when AJ Hawk came in and he played at the Shoe. I mean, he played in some of the bigger stadiums, including Michigan, throughout his career. But he, as he said, when you walk through the door at Lambeau, you're a pro. I mean, it's like all your reality, all your dreams become a reality. And also, you see that stadium every weekend or on Sunday night or Monday Night Football and what have you, and you can't wait to get there. So there is a little bit of that, I would assume, even if you've won a national title and you've played in some of the bigger stadiums throughout the country, and you play the SEC championship down at Mercedes in Atlanta. And I get it, but I think there's something to be said for walking through the doors of Lambeau Field, wouldn't you?
Yeah, probably. It is the culmination of years upon years upon years of work. And some of these, God, I think it was Sean Ryan who was talking about meeting David Bakhtiari, just kind of crossing paths in the locker room. It's like, I watched you for years, and here he is live and in the flesh. So again, I think that is kind of what you referenced a few minutes ago, Bill. This is one of the things about the rookie camp is it gets all that stuff out of the way, it gets all that, the awestruckness, if that's a word, you get that out of the way. So when it's time to go compete here in 2 weeks, you can go get that done.
How much pressure is Christian Watson facing?
A lot. I mean, how do these guys win a Super Bowl without him being a good football player? Mm-hmm. Right? It seems impossible to me that if he's just a run-of-the-mill rookie or one of the guys who struggles to find his way, it just seems impossible that they can win it all. I mean, talk about pressure, right? Devontae White's not under that pressure. Quay Walker's not under that pressure. Christian Watson is. I mean, he's going to have to be a good football player. Maybe not week one, but there's a lot in that guy's plate. And it's not just to replace Devontae as something resembling the number one receiver. Someone's got to take Valdez Scantling's long ball play. There's a lot out there for sure. Maybe Sammy Watkins can revitalize his career and all that, but he's got to be good. He's got to be really good for these guys to have a chance. But this isn't, as I've said before, this is not division title time. This is, the goal here is to win a Super Bowl, and those guys are going to have to be really good. They're going to have to be really good, or it's just not going to get done. I don't care. People can talk until they're blue in the face about Aaron Rodgers being an MVP quarterback and Matt LaFleur's scheme. That's all well and good. The Rams have a good quarterback too, and they've got a good scheme too. And they got Allen Robinson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they understand the value of playmakers. Well, these guys need playmakers, and Christian Watson is front and center in that.
Talking with Bill Huber of SI, at Bill Huber. You can find him over on Twitter. How much pressure, and this is a story that really we're not talking about because it really doesn't have an implication on the actual season, but how much pressure does Jordan Love have on him to show something over what he did last year, get on the same page with these guys early and be able to produce in the preseason to show any kind of value at all?
Yeah, you're right, Bill. It's there. It's all internal. The guy might never play a snap here. We all get that, but I mean, he's got a career to look at, and if he has a bad preseason, if he just has a preseason like last year where he had some good plays, some bad plays, I mean, who's going to want him, right? If he's a free agent after in a couple of years or in the trademark, whatever it is, I mean, where's his value going to be? I kind of found it comical, Bill, when we're talking about trading him, before this draft. For what? Right? What has he done? He's done nothing. And some of that's no fault of his own, right? I mean, he came here as a rookie, and with COVID, there was no rookie minicamp and no OTAs and all that stuff. And the pressure, and not the pressure, but, they had to get Rodgers ready. So Love was totally in the back burner as a rookie. And then last year, there was the shoulder injury in the preseason opener, and that threw him for a loss. So some of this isn't his own. None of it's not his own doing. I understand some of it, but if he doesn't show a significant step forward in the preseason games this year, his career is toast, right? As far as being viewed as a starting caliber guy who's for starting caliber money, it seems impossible. So, there's a lot of internal pressure, Bill, for sure.
I completely agree, and I also think then. What are the Packers are probably doing a couple of novenas too, because you just don't know with Rodgers. I mean, you would assume he's going to be back next year. He's got a lot of money owed to him. After that, we'll wait. I figure this is probably a 2-year project to get this thing done, but they have got to figure out what they want to do with Jordan Love. If there was just a flat out mistake in picking him, or if there's trade value there or something along the way. And then you talk about pressure. I mean, I think the quarterback in the National Football League, probably with the most pressure on him, has got to be Aaron Rodgers. We're a year into the saga. I can't believe we're only a year and a couple of weeks into this thing, but we're a year and a couple of weeks into this saga. He comes back, after the reports were $150 million, which he categorically denied. It ends up being exactly that, 3 years, $150 million. And we all know that he did, make it cap friendly and such. But then you lose Devontae Adams. You're trying to get this thing back to a Super Bowl. You lost in ugly fashion to the San Francisco 49ers. Is there a quarterback in the National Football League that has more pressure on him than Aaron Rodgers right now sitting in Green Bay?
Yeah, it's hard to see anybody else. This whole team is built to win a Super Bowl around him, right? Once he's gone, it's going to be blow it up and start from scratch, but it's going to be kind of starting from scratch time. There's a lot of money. They put all the eggs in his basket. I realize that Jordan Love's here, but all the eggs are in his basket. He's talked for years and years and years. He knows his legacy, right? I mean, MVPs are great and all that, but there's been a lot of quarterbacks with 1 Super Bowl ring. It's a lot shorter list with 2. That resume looks a hell of a lot better if he can somehow get another one, even if it's Peyton Manning style, where it's because of the running game and the defense and all that. I won't say he's got to get another one, but the second one sure makes his career look a lot more well-rounded than it is right now.
Bill, good stuff. We appreciate it. And we're going to touch base again down the road as they all reconvene in a few weeks, okay?
Can't wait, Bill. Take care.
Appreciate it, pal. Talk to you soon. There you go. Bill Huber from SI.com. Go to SI.com. You can read his stuff at Bill Huber. You can find his stuff there. Speaking of football, we know a few of these games are leaking out. Schedule and games are leaking out. The NFL, we all know, is a 24/7, 365 business. And the schedule is starting to leak a little bit. You had Joe Buck and Troy Aikman making that Monday Night Football announcement and such, and a few of those games came out. We'll talk a little bit about that, but it's just about that time. We're going to start finding out exactly where the Packers are going to be playing here this week, who they're going to be playing this week, dates, times, all that kind of good stuff, and how many nationally televised games they are actually going to be featured in. So I can't wait for the remainder of the week, but we got a few of the games that have been leaked out for Monday Night Football coming up. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Heading downtown tonight, I bet you are. Bucks, Celtics, Game 4. Oh, yeah, looking forward to it. If you're going down there and you're going to get down there early or near the Deer District, you want some great Italian food. Stop in and see our buddy Gino over at Calderon Club. Oh, so good. The chicken marsala, you want to bathe in it. It's so good. Get some of the penne pasta, the Sashina penne pasta. Fantastic. Or next door to San Giorgio, the only authentic, certified Napolitana VPN stove, we'll say, that is a pizzeria. Oh, so good. Stop in, and then they pair that up with our friends at Cider Boys, and they do some good stuff down there. Cider Boys, brewed right here in the state of Wisconsin. Good cider to go along with that, or just get your bottle of vino, whatever, and just enjoy yourself. Head over to the game, and then afterwards, oh boy, back over at Calderon Club or San Giorgio for the nightcap, and off you go. Great way to go. Old World 3rd Street, right there across from the Hyatt, only a few blocks away from the Fiserv Forum. That is our buddy Gino and the gang at San Giorgio, the Calderon Club, and they do a lot with Point Brewing as well. So thanks to them for being a part of the program, as always. Some of the Monday night matchups have been announced. Now, it's very few. We've only got 3 of them, but you got the Titans and the Bills coming up on the 19th of September. The Vikings on the road taking on the Eagles. That game is going to actually be not on ESPN, but on ABC on the 19th of September. Then on Sunday, it's going to be a Sunday game from London at 9:30 a.m., 8:30 a.m. Central Time. That's going to be on ESPN Plus, the Broncos and the Jaguars in London. They're going to carry that game, and then they've got some more to fill in as the schedule continues to leak out. But I'm getting excited. And everybody's getting their finger on that button, getting ready to make their travel plans. But I'm getting excited for this. So are you feeling good about the Vikings going into Philadelphia, Ben, to take on Hurts and company? As there's a lot of pressure on him too, because there are some people picking the Eagles now all of a sudden to win the division.
I mean, I saw the news. My first reaction was whatever. Like we already know who the teams are playing, and I guess I'm excited to see when it's happening. But I don't like this whole drop one game a day thing. Like I don't care enough to make a conclusion off it. But I do think it is the first time the Vikings are going to be in Philly since the NFC Championship back in 2017.
It's I'm getting kind of the itch, not necessarily for the NFL, as for football yet, but I am getting the itch to get the schedule out and start making my plans and looking at my weekends and scheduling out the remainder of the year. I get into that now. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because this year's different, because usually they drop the preseason games about 2 weeks before the draft, and then they drop the schedule a week before the draft. That was always the tradition. Now, are they dropping everything at once, preseason and all?
I don't know. Well, I know that they do the thing they're doing now where we get a game at a time for a couple of days before it all comes out. But I don't know about the preseason. I'm just kind of waiting to hear.
And if anybody knows, let me know. But it was I'm just kind of waiting to find out if that's the way they're going to do it. We'll see. 877-867-1670. By the way, did you see Nick Chubb? The video that's gone viral
I just saw it.
Of Nick Chubb throwing up 675 pounds, squatting 675 pounds. That's like crazy stupid. That's crazy stupid. Wow. And the bar itself, just bouncing on his back when he comes up. 675 pounds. Squatting 670. I just saw that. I'm just like, wow. I just retweeted it. For those who follow me over on Twitter, I just retweeted it. Holy mackerel.
So what does this mean now? We need a live Bill Michaels squat competition and see who breaks their legs live on air first?
Ain't happening. You know what? I'll be honest. I think going back to the day when I was in the gym and I was playing and stuff, and I would do that kind of stuff. I think it ended up hurting me, because to this day, I think I was involved in a pretty bad car accident too, and that's part of it. But I have got just issues with my lower back like crazy. But I could not even begin. Here's the funny thing. I've had this like bursitis in my right knee for a while. And I just kind of blew it off. You know, it just hurts when you stand up. It hurts when you put pressure on. I was in the gym over the weekend and I went to do curls, leg curls. And I went to do, the leg extensions on the machine. And I always do them both legs at a time. And I can put up, a decent amount, but I'm not trying to build muscle. I'm just trying to stay toned, about 180 pounds. Okay. I went to do it with just like 50 pounds with just my my right leg. I couldn't get it up. I couldn't get up the plate, which means I'm doing everything with my left leg because my right knee is so bad. So I don't know. I might be pulling a Ben Kenny at some point and having some knee surgery done. Having to get some things looked at. If I don't strengthen that knee and I don't get rid of this bursitis, holy mackerel. 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go, and Corbin Burns has been the recipient of nada. We'll tell you how. Coming back. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up next. Hour number 3, the Bill Michaels Show. We continue on this Monday, May 9th. Getting you ready tonight. You got the Bucks back at the Fiserv Forum taking on the Boston Celtics. Game 4 coming up tonight. Can the Bucks do it in 5? Can the Bucks get the win tonight and then close it out in Beantown later this week? In the meantime, you've got Cincinnati hosting the Brewers tonight. The Brewers heading to Great American Ballpark. We'll talk with Mo Egger from ESPN Radio in Cincinnati coming up a little bit later on in the program. I believe we're going to hear from our buddy Mike Clemens. I think. Not 100% positive, but I believe we're going to hear from Mike Clemens a little bit later on today. We should find out. Mike had reached out to me over the weekend. I haven't heard from him since, and I need to get in touch with him anyway. Mike's gone underground. He's under Lambeau. He's tough to get a hold of. So here's the thing. Corbin Burns, when you talk about needing run support, among qualifying National League starters, only 3 have lower run support per 9 innings than Corbin Burns. Only 3. Atlanta's Kyle Wright, Philadelphia's Zach Wheeler, Miami's Sandy Alcantara. Put it this way, Burns' last three starts, he's got a 137 ERA and 28 strikeouts against only 4 walks in 19 and 2/3 innings. The Brewers have lost all 3 games. 2 of those losses were hung on Burns. How about this? During the last 2 turns through the Brewers' starting rotation, the team has scored 78 runs in 9 games. 78 runs in 9 games. Burns didn't start. In 78 runs in 9 games, the games Burns didn't start. That's an average of 8.67 runs per game. They scored 2 runs total in Burns' last 2 starts. Think about that. Corbin Burns has been just lights out. 2 turns through the rotation, the games that Burns did not start, the team scored 78 runs, 8.67 runs per game. The 2 starts that Burns started, they scored a total of 2 runs. That's it. That's insanity. Crazy. It's almost unfathomable that they have been offensively that inept when Corbin Burns is on the hill, offensively speaking. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. He certainly deserved a lot better. Big time. A lot better. They ended up, when it came to run scoring, they were pouring it on. The last 2 games in Atlanta, they've scored a total of 4 runs, getting beat 12-4 in total. 9-2 yesterday, 3-2 the day prior. And now they head into Cincinnati. The Brewers, though, the good portion of this is the fact that Willy Adames is bounced back. Christian Yelich is bounced back. Hunter Renfroe has all of these guys. And they're now, because before the majority were 200 or worse when it came to their batting average, and their OPSs were below 700, sitting anywhere between 600 and 650 tops. Willy Adames, OPS now 838. Christian Yelich, OPS now 775. Hunter Renfroe, 724. Andrew McCutchen, 641. Rowdy Tellez is off the hook at 887. Colton Wong, he's boosted his above the 600 mark to 664. Hitting 239 right now. Now I know you want to see more out of these guys, but let's be honest. The last time we really got into this discussion, we were talking about Christian Yelich trying to get a total more than 15 home runs on the season. He has boosted his average over the last 10 games, 60 points. He's gotten 3 home runs. His strikeouts are down. His walks are up. His on-base percentage has gone from 321 to 339. His slugging percentage has gone from 387 to 436. If he can get hot, and I'm not saying he's got to hit, 326 or 300, but if he can get hot and can continue to rip, man, you talk about just a difference maker. Big time, a difference maker, big time. If he can start to do even a shadow of what, and he's got 100 RBI or 100 at bats now. Remember, I said we're going to wait till 100 at bats. So you've got guys, Willy Adames hitting 229. You'd like to see that go up, but the power numbers have gone up. Obviously, he's got 8 home runs, leads the team, believe it or not. 22 RBI in the season. 33 strikeouts, 16 walks, but 109 at bats. He's now hitting 229 with a slugging percentage of 505 and on base percentage of 333 and an OPS of 838. Get the average up. Everything else begins to rise with it. It would be solid numbers. Not bad. Christian Yelich, 101 at bats, 248 batting average, 775 now OPS. The OPS has taken a drastic turn northward. Really solid. Rowdy Tellez, 93 at-bats, 258 batting average, 887 OPS, 7 dingers, 24 RBIs. Leads the team in RBIs. Leads the second on the team, I should say, in total bases with 53, 55 by Willie Adames. And then Colton Wong has gotten his to raise up. He's got 92 at-bats on the season right now. Team batting average has gone from a mere 216, or actually it was 208 about 2.5 weeks ago, to 232 with a slugging percentage of 402 and an on-base percentage that's now above 300. Offensively, things are starting to get better. Things are starting to get better. They're not great, but they're at least, especially over the last couple of weeks, they're trending in the right direction. Albeit, I will say, don't get crazy on me here, but albeit the Brewers need to continue this in the sense of they don't have to hit the way they did at American Family Field, but they have to hit better, if you will, than what they hit the first 2.5 weeks of the season. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Brewers right now, 4th best in Major League Baseball when it comes to overall record. The Angels, or Los Angeles, the Dodgers, I should say, really winning percentage-wise, have the best record. Then the Mets. Then the Yankees National League, who have 20. They have the most wins on the season than the Brewers, and kind of goes from there. And the Brewers are 8-1 over their last 9 games against the Reds, including 3 straight this season. 9-1 or 8-1 over their last 9 games against the Reds. And the person that has the most home runs against Cincinnati since 2018 is none other than Christian Yelich. So Christian Yelich, you look for him, hopefully, cross your fingers, knock on wood, to continue his success against Cincinnati when they head into the Queen City this coming weekend. 877-867-1670. Our buddy Cheddarballs, a couple of them, he says Bucks need to win tonight. That gives you the game 5 and 6 to close things out, and you don't have to go play in Boston for a game 7, which completely agree. And although a lot of people are picking Boston to bounce back in the game coming up tonight, I'm picking the Bucks in a close one. I'm going to say 105-104. Bucks get a win tonight. How you feeling about tonight's contest, Ben?
Not great, honestly. I think it is a pure toss-up. I mean, last game kind of was too, right? As they went down the stretch, that could have gone anyways. Obviously, Giannis has that big bucket at the end, and then Smart has the whole free throw thing. But I think it's a pure toss-up. I don't have a good feel for who takes it.
I have. Oh boy. I think the Bucks win it. I think it's a hard-fought game, and it's one of those where you pull it out, you feel really good, you gain a lot of momentum. They go to Boston, and I think Boston fans and the energy there in that building, they know their backs are against the wall. They're about to lose it, so you might as well go ahead and play a hell of a game, and the Bucks don't have to come out and play with the same tenacity. The Bucks probably lose in Beantown. Then they come back to the Fiserv Forum and close it out. That's my thought. If I have to put money on it, that would be my thought. I can't. It changes the dynamic drastically if the Celtics win tonight, because then you're looking at closing it out on the road, and that's a tough thing to do. Don't get me wrong, the Bucks. We've seen them be able to win on the road. They won in Brooklyn, and everybody knew that Brooklyn was going to be the better shooting team and the hotter team and all yada yada yada. And they ended up doing it last year. When their backs have been against the wall lately, they've been able to pull it out. But I think if you're going to make an emphatic statement and say, okay, this is who we are and what we are, I think tonight is the game that the Bucks win. And if I had to say, if I was going to put my money on which side of the blowout there would be, I would put my money on the Bucks side. I can't imagine Boston blowing the Bucks out at home. I think if there's going to be a blowout, the Bucks will get it, but I think it's going to be a close game. I'm saying 105, 104, 105, 103, something like that. Bucks get a win at home tonight. The big question is, and we're getting this over on the Bud Light live stream as well, will we have Middleton back for Game 7, though? I still would be surprised. Maybe if you, but Game 7, I'd say Middleton would be back if he's close. Yes. But I think the thought process is, which is another reason why you want to get this win tonight, don't lose home court advantage. You don't want to use Middleton in this series. You want to use him in the Eastern Conference Finals. And even then, you may not use him if you can rest him for a game or two. If you feel that the Eastern Conference Finals is handleable, every day he doesn't play is a great step for Chris Middleton in showing up and having impact minutes in the finals. Every day you don't have to use him is a good day. So that's why tonight also is so incredibly important. And I think the Bucks need to close it out, and I think they can get wins against either team, regardless if they have Middleton or not, whether it's the 76ers or the Miami Heat. But I think they're going to be facing the 76ers. I think just Joel, I agree with you, Ben, from earlier. I think Joel Embiid is he's the tipping point for that series. Without Joel Embiid, we've seen what can happen. With him, they just don't have an answer. They just don't have an answer for him. 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, do so again. A reminder, the information is up. It's out, and we want you to be a part of it. Please, please, please come and join us for the motorcycle ride. Coming up on Sunday, September 4th. That is Labor Day weekend, Sunday, September 4th. Please pass it along. Tell everybody you know that rides a motorcycle or doesn't ride a motorcycle who wants to be there. And we are looking for volunteers as well. So if you want to volunteer, all you got to do is hit us up via email, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. We need volunteers at the beginning and at the end. One thing we've never really had to search for is volunteers, but we want to get some more this year because we expect this year, hopefully, to be our biggest. Again, you can get a hold of us, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. That's thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can find us over on the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. And if you want to get registered, all the information is right there. Get signed up. It's going to be a tremendous, tremendous event. Again, get signed up, and we'll give you all the details, get you all signed up for the motorcycle ride, and spread the word to those who ride motorcycles. We ride for veterans, for military members, and their families via Fisher House, Wisconsin. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this.
Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, don't forget about our friends over at Epoxy Flooring Done Right. Sean and the gang do a great job. And as a matter of fact, they're out there doing the Dockhound Stadium right now. But if you are looking this time of year, when you start to get rid of all the blech that's in your garage and you're shoveling out and brushing out and all that kind of stuff, the crap left over, all the salt and all the sand that was left over from the winter, you're looking at your garage and you're thinking, boy, this sucks. This is nasty looking. Get a hold of Sean and the gang at Epoxy Flooring Done Right. That's Epoxy Flooring Done Right, providing Wisconsin home and business owners epoxy flooring coating services at great prices, top quality workmanship, different colors, different finishes. They even paint the room that you're having done, so they can paint the interior of the garage. If you're like me and you had, say, the downstairs, the basement done for my gym, painted the entire room. Fantastic. Fresh look, makes it look great. Different colors, different finishes, all that kind of stuff. From Green Bay to Milwaukee to Madison, everywhere in between. It's epoxyflooringdoneright.com. Epoxyflooringdoneright.com, or call them 262-443-2852. 262-443-2852. Tell Sean we recommended them highly, highly. So one of the other things coming out of the NBA, we were talking some Brewers baseball, but I want to get back into the NBA. Did you see Chris Paul got all pissed off? And rightfully so. Rightfully so. When you, because apparently some fans were going after his family. And Chris Paul had talked about, well, hey, if you're going to fine us players for going after fans, can we do something with the fans for going after our family? Now, I have always stated, always 100% equivocally, unless somebody's family member does something egregious to you or those around them, family is off limits, man. That's wrong. Family is off limits. The derogatory remarks, you can say if you're having some jawing back and forth, take that, that type of thing. That's one thing. But some of the stuff that's said to families is wrong. It's shame on some of you who do that, fan-wise. 99.9% of the fans, you and I, we're 99.9% sensible. There's always that one fan that throws the monkey wrench in. This is what Charles Barkley had to say about the incident after the fact.
Look up fans. I've always said, hey, we could put an end to all this stuff. Some of the stuff these fans say, let's take them right down to center court for 5 minutes. I've always said that. Some of the crap they say to you, hey, let's give me 5 minutes to center court with them until say, you ain't gonna press no charges. Nobody gonna get it. Ain't nobody gonna be sued civilly. Say what you just said to me right to my face right here for these 5 minutes. I'm gonna beat your ass, beat the hell out of you.
It would take you 5 minutes?
Oh no, I'm gonna take my time. I'm not gonna beat them up quickly. I'm gonna jab them a little bit. Then I'm gonna lay the haymakers on their ass.
Well, obviously.
That's perfect. I completely agree. Completely. When you feel, and we know this, I've always called it like the Twitter muscle disease. When you know people can't come after you, when you know that there really aren't any repercussions, that people do what they want to do. There's something in you. There's something in you that is character. And like I said, 99.9% of you have it. You got character. You just don't do certain things, You stay sportsmanlike, You try to keep it on the up and up. You try not to be crazy vulgar. Try not to be, crazy attacking, You cheer for your team more so than against the others. But there's that 0.1% that just give fans a terrible name. Terrible. And also, it becomes a mob mentality for some, where you wouldn't normally do it if you were one-on-one, but you'll do it with your friends because you know they got your back. Or you'll do it in the mass because you know they got your back. And we've all been there. We've all been there where you have that moment in you where you can do something and you either choose to do it or you don't. Those that don't, that's what's called character. Stay within yourself. Stay within what's right. And there's always that 1%. So I don't know specifically what was said to Chris Paul's family and what happened, but I do know that the fans were escorted out. And usually what happens in that case, to say there's no repercussions, there are to a certain extent. And one is that via facial recognition in today's day and age, I'm sure that's the way they probably find it in many of these places, you're going to be banned. You're not going to be back in the arenas anytime soon. You're going to be banned. So that's first and foremost. Usually they will track you down via season ticket holders because most of the seats, especially seats down low, most of those tickets are owned by somebody. So if you're a fan that bought it on StubHub or a secondary market, the fan that actually sold the seat probably going to get into some trouble. They're going to say, you know what, your tickets are gone. And I don't think anybody wants to lose that. So there's a decorum you keep. There's a decorum you keep. And most of you have the character. I agree with Charles Barkley, man. I'd love to see that. Some fan that just, because I have heard, you know what I found interesting? I have heard some really rude stuff yelled at baseball and football games. Basketball games to a certain extent too, but you're a little closer, you're a little more intimate, so to speak. Some of the worst things I've ever heard yelled are at golf. They're at golf as golfers are walking through the line, going from green to tee box. Some of them have been at golf. I've been stunned. And some of them have been by kids that you would assume are, say, 16 years old or less, by kids who don't get a free glove or a free golf ball. It's not like golfers are walking around with 200 balls in their bag, yelling, hey, give me a ball. Hey, give me your glove. Just blatantly. It's not even, hey, great job or anything. It's just give me. And if the golfer doesn't, you hear some of the most vulgar things being shouted by kids. I'm just like, wow. And I'm always looking to see if there's a parent behind them. Because if I can't imagine, if my kid did that, that's where they'd be buried. It'd be the end of it right there. I brought you into the world. I'll take you out. So, but at golf events, Ben, you ever been to a big time golf event?
Not big time, but I covered the American Family Championship last year here in Madison. But no big time events. The
big time events, man, I've been to a couple of them, and wow, some of the stuff. Now, a couple I've been to as a fan, and a couple I've been to as covering them. PGA Championship, U.S. Open, 2 PGA Championships, a Senior Open. I've been to Ryder Cup. I mean, Ryder Cup more as a fan, but just some of the stuff that's yelled, I'm like, wow. Really? But I like Barkley. I like Barkley's idea. Hey, give him to me for 5 minutes. I'll beat on him slow, and then eventually I'll land the haymakers and go from there.
I've heard it.
Go ahead.
I've heard it tossed out. Every player gets one instance a year where they can invite a fan down on the court and fight him.
Mm-hmm.
One a year.
Sure.
And it's a free pass. So then you as a fan, when you go to a game, that player's already used his fight. So then I can go say stuff.
Right. Well, here's the other thing. If now, and again, this is for certain people out there that tend to go in this direction, because I know a few people that are nothing but mouths, nothing but mouthy. They yell the most vulgar stuff and they just think they're cool, and they'll do whatever they want to do without repercussion, because the first time anybody comes after them, they are the first ones to call the police and call the attorneys, which is so unbelievably gutless. But I've always thought, boy, if these guys ever said anything, knowing they have absolutely no ability to call for help, to call a policeman, to call and press charges, or to call an attorney, they would not say a word. They are the biggest cowards on the face of the earth. Know them, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Oh, and they think it's funny. It's like, it's not funny. And I hope somebody just absolutely positively whoops all over you so I can sit back, fold my arms, and watch. And that'll be better than paid for TV. That's a pay-per-view moment for me that I'd pay to see just because you've just been such an ass your entire life. It's about time somebody whooped up on you. That's what I've kind of rooted for. 877-867-867-1670. Dustin says, have you ever heard kids online gaming? Oh, my God, yes. Oh, yes.
This is more my childhood.
Oh,
Back
yeah.
in the Modern Warfare 2 Call of Duty days.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge player of it, but there would be clips everywhere of the violence in those lobbies.
Really? Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I've seen I've heard going back to the gaming comment. Yeah, I've heard some of that. It's yeah. To say the very least. It can be kind of brutal. But again, it's all now in the kid thing, and I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on this, but in the kid thing, when you talk about gaming, usually it's kids that are in a room away from mom and dad, and you don't hear it real loud because they're screaming into a headset rather than two friends sitting in a room. They're usually playing somebody from down the street or around the world. So I understand it, but usually they're not yelling too loud in front of that kind of stuff in front of mom and dad. That's why, my son years ago when he was doing I think it was the first Call of Duty ever, going back to, I think it was PlayStation or Xbox. I can't remember. The first time I heard something come out, it was like, okay, you're playing with the door open. And then it was a lot of frustration of mother, that kind of stuff. It's the stuff that they hear at school, and you can't prevent it at school. You try to hope that you've got enough character in your kid for him or her not to talk that way. But, yeah, I've heard it. It gets pretty good. Some of the stuff, you don't even understand. You're like, what? When did that become some kind of a saying? You don't even understand some of it, but neither here nor there. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up this portion of the program. Brought to you by our friends at Joe and Ellen and the whole gang over there at Sloppy Joe's and Smoke on the Water. Getting out tonight. Get yourself a meal, get yourself a bloody, get yourself a good old fashioned, or maybe just a beer. Sit back, relax, and watch the game wherever it is you're going to be, whether at either location. Sloppy Joe's in Hubertus or out there in Okachi Lake, enjoying the boats going by, a little bit of a breeze on the lake, and the big screen TVs all over the place. It's Smoke on the Water. Either place, fantastic place to go to. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Thunder is back, and you don't want to miss it. June 30th through July 3rd. It's the NASCAR Cup Quick Trip 250 and the Xfinity Series Henry 180. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How we looking? Bill Michaels Show. We trek on this Monday. Good stuff. Our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin reminding you that they are the hometown team. Yes, they are. And they are year-round, by the way. Not just one season, but year-round. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin in the dead of winter, the heat of summer, everything in between. You can call that team right now for energy-efficient windows, doors, patio doors, entry systems. It's all made beautiful. So why settle when you talk about different window and door companies that are out there for just 1 or 2 lines of windows? Okay, both of those are usually vinyl. We've got top-notch vinyl windows. Well, Pella has 2 lines of vinyl windows, economical, yes. They also have the Impervia line, which is stronger than fiberglass. And then there's 3 different lines of the luxurious, beautiful wood windows and doors. And from contemporary to traditional and everything in between, they've got it all. Different hardware, different types. You can go with roll screen inside the window. You can go with slider windows. You can add patio doors. You can do just all kinds of different things. And right now, they've got it to fit any budget. Choose up to $2,500 off an installed patio door or $3,000 off an installed entry door system. Don't put it off. Look, and with the cost of materials going up and such, our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin want to remind you that everything's going up right now. But they've got some great financing deals. They've got a lot of good stuff. And with summer around the corner, now when you want to open up your house, you're not worried about the cold leaking in, not to say that it does, because they're really good at shutting off per room. But get it done now. Get ready for the oncoming winter next year. Get ready to keep the heat out in the summer because it's predicted to be a hot summer. Get them done. Get them done now. Maybe whatever the beautification is for your home, or think about maybe selling your home, adding value to it. So many different things. Go to PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com, or call them 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. 855-PELLA-WI, or go to PellaWI.com. Welcome back to the program. Hatfield Nick says the Celtics were billed as the tough/gritty D team, and they got a wake-up call in game one that the Bucks were turning it on, and they cannot stop Giannis. Bucks are going to crush it tonight. Anthony says, Bucks in 5. I like it. Giannis going off again this evening. They don't have an answer. Stevie says, look out for Giannis tonight. He's going to be as physical or more physical if they're not calling the fouls on him. It'll only take 1 or 2 fouls early, though, to stop the physicality. That then favors Boston. Look for it to be a close game. I got the Bucks in a win. Alex says, I think the officials are going to dominate this game tonight. They've taken a lot of heat since the weekend. Look for the officials to be prevalent this evening at the Fiserv. By the way, he has the Bucks getting a win 113-108. There you go. I said 105, 104, 105, 103, something like that. I think the Bucks get a win tonight. Sam says, hey, Unit, looking good. Are you on the diet again? Which is not really a diet. It's more of a fitness program, so to speak, Sam, but thank you for noticing. Down 8 pounds in the last 2 weeks. A lot more to go. I've kind of packed it on over the last, 6 months, something like that. But down 8 pounds. Are you biking again or just doing treadmill stuff or weights? How do you do it? Sam, yes, to answer your question, a little bit of everything. Now that the weather's changed, I'll be back out on the road bike doing a lot more biking, because that's just a tremendous form of physical exertion, because you're using the largest muscle group in your body, which is your legs. They burn the most fat, the most energy. It does work your core to keep your core tight as you're on the bike. But it's not lifting, as far as, to get huge biceps, triceps, all that kind of stuff. But I do some. I only lift twice a week, but I do more cardio right now than anything. When you want to lose weight, I do low weights, high reps, and I just up the cardio a little bit. But I enjoy it. I put in the headset. I'm either listening to sports or I'm listening to music, get on the bike, and I try to do no less than like 6 miles and just get out there and ride. But if I'm just starting to get the stamina back up. But if I really get after it, maybe about 10 miles, not a bad way to go. It's a good workout. So there you go. By the way, I was just reading this article. Did you know that bananas and eating bananas, because Kristen and I got into this whole discussion about bananas the other day. Because I eat bananas quite often, but I buy them and then they go bad. So I don't buy a ton of them all the time. But bananas are consistently among the most popular fruits. And the thing about it is there is chemicals in bananas that not only help you recover, we all know that, with the potassium and such, that gets the lactic acid out of your muscles so you don't really get sore and you don't have all the issues. But in addition to that, bananas have a chemical in there that make you happy. I'm not kidding.
Maybe that's why I'm angry often.
Yeah. Yeah. Bananas are packed with nutrients, but they also have a chemical in there that makes you happy. They're a great source of vitamin B6. And I already touched on the potassium and such, but they have all these different chemicals, but there's a chemical in there that makes you literally changes your mood, can change your mood and make you happy. You feel happier after eating a banana for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe it's because I feel fit and I feel like I ate a banana instead of eating a bag of Doritos. that could be the reason why. Because I feel like I ate a banana. It's good. I feel healthier. And I don't feel like I'm going to be walking away after eating a banana with a case of tank ass. So just throwing it out there. It can happen. Are you a fitness dude, Ben?
I work out. I try to stay active.
Okay.
But I would not call myself a fitness person.
Now, when you play golf, do you walk it or do you ride it in the cart?
We always walk.
Okay.
And
well, then good
part
for
of
you.
that is, we find ways to work out. I also play better when I walk, and I think it's more fun.
Okay.
But I don't know. I wouldn't call myself a fitness person. I'm not out there lifting. I don't do leg day.
No, I'm not. I got over that years ago, and not, like when I was coming out of high school or college. I try to do what they call the circuit. They'll do the front muscles and then the back muscles, that type of thing. Or you'll do chest, you'll do some biceps, you'll do some leg curls, and then the next day you'll do your shoulders and back, and then the lay down reverse leg curls, and some light squats for glutes and stuff like that. I reverse it. I'll do it. But I don't do it like I used to. The only reason why is because you'll build up and you'll look great. But the minute you stop, it takes you so long to get back to being good again. And it's not that I don't want to do the work. It's just that I don't have the time. So I just try to stay fit. Like yesterday, when we were out walking around, I really thought in the beginning, oh God, this is going to be a mess. This is just a long walk for what we want to do. And by the end of the day, I had kind of caught the endorphins. I was good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was glad when we were done, but I could have kept going. If it would have been another mile, I would have been good. Or two. I could have done that, walking around, doing some shopping, carrying bags and stuff. I didn't mind it too much. But by the end of the day, once I jumped in the car and got on the way home, I was pretty good coming home. But getting out of the car now, that was a whole different experience. 877-867-1670. ESPN Steve says, when is the new studio going to be remodeled? It is currently, we have things that have been ordered. Can't do anything until the stuff starts coming in, because otherwise we're left with nothing, and you can't just do nothing. So it's going to happen. Hopefully it gets done in the next 2-3 weeks. But I can't do anything until the new decking and such comes in. So we've ordered some new decking, and which is the countertops and then the chairs. Once the chairs are here too, but just kind of waiting like everything else. I'm still waiting on the engine for my boat. I had gotten a notification that it was getting ready to be shipped, and since then, Volvo Penta has sent the delay. Now that was about 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to check again today and see what the status is. But just like everything, man, if you look for cat food on store shelves, we are screwed up as a world right now, and being reliant on so many other countries for so many different things. It's not necessarily the cat food, but it's the can that you put them in, or it's the bottle caps that you need to cover up the sodas, or just whatever. Every time you talk to somebody, it's not the overall product. It's a piece of the product that is produced somewhere else, some other country, that is not coming into the country fast enough. And we are, granted, international trade is fantastic, monetarily speaking, but you really find out when there's a crunch that what happens. We saw a whole boatload of trucks and cars just a couple of years ago because of the pandemic. The little computer chips that it takes for the memories of these things, the brain, if you will, of the vehicle. They were building the engines, they were building the chassis, but they didn't have the brain to be able to stick in there to say, okay, start up, fire up, and here's all the things you need to do systematically to get that thing running. At one point, I remember, and I can't remember what the city was in Kentucky, where Kentucky Motor Speedway is, but they had over 7,000, and I think they were Fords, but because they just continued to make the vehicles. They had over 7,000 vehicles sitting there. They couldn't drive them. They were done. They just didn't have the computer chip in them to make them go. I think they're finally starting to get those back into service, but just like everything, we're waiting, 877-867-1670 coming up in the next hour. We're going to talk with Mo Egger from ESPN Radio in Cincinnati. Brewers on the road coming up tonight, taking on the Cincinnati Reds down at Great American Ballpark. So we'll get a little bit of the lowdown and the build up to this series, as the Reds have won 2 out of 3 over the weekend, while the Brewers lost 2 out of 3 to Atlanta. But then again, the Reds were beating up on Pittsburgh, so who really cares? This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. If you follow us over on the Facebook fan page, and I'll continue to put a link over on that fan page, But Wisconsin Harley has the debut for their party. We announced our motorcycle ride in conjunction with the hometown rally and their party that's going on that same Labor Day weekend. So they've got a lot going on, a lot of anticipation for the riding season. I would not be shocked if there was just bikes everywhere out cruising around today. People going to work, people riding after work, people riding tomorrow. Wednesday specifically, as the weather clears up and it's going to be in the 80s, it's getting into riding season. If you're looking for a bike, if you're looking for parts, if you're looking for clothes, go to wishd.com. That is wishd.com. Again, wishd.com. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
in there for sports viewing too. So Sunset Bar and Grill in Pewaukee on Pewaukee Lake. Great place to go. And I've always said, when you stop in, you ask Trish, who's the manager over there. Say, Trish, do you still have those leather pants? Make a note of it. Okay. I'm telling you, she'll have an answer for you. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Let us know what you're thinking. Coming up a little bit later on in the program, going to talk with Mo Egger from ESPN Radio in Cincinnati about the Cincinnati Reds, who got 2 wins over the weekend. The Brewers lost 2 over the weekend. Now these 2 teams clash yet again, and can the Brewers bats wake back up and start to pound the ball out, this time down at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, where I know the weather is warm. I know they're expecting a little bit of rain throughout the week, but the weather is warm down there and warming up fast. And it's going to be the first real taste of outdoor summer weather baseball, I think. It was okay in Atlanta, but this is going to be the first big time taste of really warm weather baseball that the Brewers are going to have so far this season. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Here's the debate. Here's a good debate. The NFL is getting ready to announce their schedule. Okay, we all know that. So in doing so, the question becomes, and this came through the NFL website, so to speak. Sorry, a couple of sneezes. Which teams or team should receive the most primetime games with the 2022 NFL regular season upon us? It's going to be unveiled on the NFL Network and NFL.com at 7 o'clock Central on Thursday. But football fans getting a little bit of a glimpse of which teams are going to be playing in prime time on Monday morning with the announcement of the Week 2 Monday night doubleheader, the Titans and the Bills, and then the Vikings and the Eagles. And looking back, the Dallas Cowboys, Chiefs each played 6 times in primetime games, tied for the most such contests in a single season with the 2007 New England Patriots. Okay? Which teams should play in the most primetime games this coming season? Which teams should play the most in the most primetime games? Now think about that. Now, Mark Ross, one of the writers for NFL, says anytime Patrick Mahomes steps onto the field, it's must-see TV. So, and plus it adds to the intrigue of how they're going to do without Tyreek Hill, trying to fill the bill with Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Sky Moore. James Jones says, James Jones, former Packers, says this year's Raiders are made for TV. Las Vegas has star power on both sides of the ball. Derek Carr, Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, Max Crosby, Chandler Jones on defense. That should be a team that everybody watches. We know if you had to pick the most pressure and the most storyline this year, I think you can look at so many different avenues in the NFL. I think you can take a look at, we'll start with the Dallas Cowboys, with the thought that their head coach is a lame duck coach because Sean Payton may be the next head coach in waiting is just drama within itself. And the fact that there is so much pressure on them to win and to be able to get themselves to a Super Bowl, it's astounding. They've done everything they can. They've paid players. Dak Prescott coming back and, all the proclamation about how good he really is. He's got a ton of pressure on him. A ton. Then there's the Green Bay Packers, we all know, probably second most with the on-again, off-again story over the last year and a couple of weeks with Aaron Rodgers coming back for $150 million, a loss of his offense, basically, when his weaponry goes, and bolstering the defense and bringing, losing Devontae Adams, bringing young guys in, trying to, I think the Green Bay Packers. Tom Brady retiring and then unretiring, coming back. There's star power in all three of those. But what team do you think holds the most drama and should be viewed the most in primetime games this season throughout the NFL. Also, we're going to talk some baseball a little bit later on this hour, upcoming hour as well. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show right around the corner.
Player that plays with his teammates, plays the right way, competes, plays through contact, plays through physicality in a big time way, and he's just got to continue to do that.
Teams that go up 3-1 in a series go on to win it 95% of the time. The winner of this series will advance to the conference finals to face either Philadelphia or Miami. 76ers tied that series up at 2 games apiece last night. Tip for the Bucks and Celtics set for 6:30 tonight in Milwaukee. Turning to the Brewers, they are still on the road after losing 2 of 3 over the weekend in Atlanta. It was the first series they lost since the middle of April. They will be back in action tonight in Cincinnati. They swept the Reds last week.
Your work-life balance is important to you, and Sutton Transport agrees. Sutton Transport offers a 5-day work week. Same start times daily, and you'll be home nightly and on weekends. Sutton Transport is now hiring CDL drivers and forklift operators for all shifts. Enjoy some of the best benefits in the industry. Consistent year-round work, twice-a-year wage increases, and enjoy your family time you deserve. That is work-life balance. The road to success is with Sutton Transport. Apply at suttontrans.com.
Well, the Packers finished up their rookie minicamp on Saturday with their second practice. On Friday, the team announced that it signed 7 of its 11 draft picks. That included first-round picks Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt. They'll join the veterans on the field in a couple of weeks for the first round of OTAs. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Print.
Welcome one, welcome all. Final hour of the Bill Michaels Show. Loving it. Good stuff. This portion of the program is brought to you by our friends at Cunis RV. They are Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealer. Go to cunisrv.com. We'll have more on them coming up here shortly. So I finished the last hour with the thought and watching the NFL Network and CBS and such, kind of talk about the NFL primetime matchups, if you will. And you got Sunday night, Monday night football, Thursday night football, some of the, the prime matchups that are going to be happening throughout the NFL. And when you start to think about some of the storylines this year, and I know we all want to see the Green Bay Packers. I personally, just me personal, I appreciate the Packers because they play in so many primetime games. There's so much demand for the Packers, for the storyline, for Aaron Rodgers, and the success that they've had. Absolutely. Completely get it. Okay. I appreciate the noon games, to be honest with you. You get up, you go to the stadium, you get done with the game, the post-game show's done by 5 or 6 o'clock, and you're back home and ready to go and watching other games and Sunday night games and such, and then talking about it the next day. Primetime games, right, Ben? Primetime games are not easy because by the time you get off the air, it's usually midnight, 1 a.m., and even later, depending on how late the game goes. And then you're back up the next morning. It's tough for us, but fans prefer to feel like they're featured. Like their team is that feature. The rest of the world is looking at us, and I get it. There's a pride there, which is completely respectable. Pride in that. But if you're going to make the storylines, the intrigue, the team itself, that prime time affair, Which teams do you feel deserve good primetime coverage? You know, which teams do you feel has the most, should have the most primetime coverage? 877-867-1670. Mark says, how about the Arizona Cardinals with everything that's gone on with Kyler Murray? They certainly are going to have a lot of intrigue and storylines around that team, especially with DeAndre Hopkins testing positive for PEDs and thus being suspended for 6 games. The return of J.J. Watt, for that matter. You know? Think about that. Kyler Murray with all of his offseason stuff and his anger and wanting to get paid. DeAndre Hopkins being put on the suspension list. And the fact that you've got J.J. Watt returning. They feel like they have a pretty good defense. But, you know, there's a lot there. And Cliff Kingsbury. For all that Kyler Murray was at the beginning of the season last year, the second half of the season after coming back from injury wasn't much. His statistics were drastically different. Can he finally put an entire season together? And if he can't, does Cliff Kingsbury, who many are screaming for out there in the desert, to say, well, he's the guy that kind of developed Kyler Murray, but is he really the guy to take you to the next step? Locally, he might be on the hot seat. So I would agree with that. That would be a good, intriguing team. We got a couple of votes already for the Dallas Cowboys. And I went through that already. Max says the shootout between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs was epic. I want to see a little more of Josh Allen. We all know we want the Green Bay Packers on each and every week, but I love the Buffalo Bills and what they're doing and what they're trending towards. That was an epic game. And that game was a rule-changing game. They changed the rules for overtime because of what happened in that game. Josh Allen never got a chance to touch the football. Remember, it was Patrick Mahomes, went right down the field. That pass in the back half of the end zone, back right corner of the end zone to Travis Kelce. That was it. That was it. And so that game in the postseason changed the way we look at overtime rules now in the NFL. So the Buffalo Bills, a team that got, you know, some will say they got jobbed because Josh Allen never had a chance to touch the ball. Well, now you will. Now you will. Getting Jamison Crowder, Stephon Diggs already. They've got Gabriel Davis. Pretty staunch defense. Yeah, that's not a bad way to go. And then it's always when you throw into it Bills Nation and, you know, the Buffalo Bill mob and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it becomes prevalent. This is who's this from? Devil D says, I'd like to see more of Joe Burrow. I think he's an up-and-comer, has a lot of swag to him after watching him in the Super Bowl. I'm sure Cincinnati might get 1 or 2. I don't know necessarily that they're a big ratings draw. Joe Burrow, though, I agree with you. Remember when he came to the podium with the kind of the pinkish glasses on and some of the attire that he was wearing as they were showing him arriving at the stadiums throughout the postseason? Yeah, they're going to get some more. Because of his personality, they're going to get some more. And some were all actually feeling that Joe Burrow was feeling way too much swagger for as young as he is in the National Football League. Because remember, in his first season, he ended up going down with an ACL, so he didn't even get a chance to complete his first season. So last year was his first full season, and he took his team to a Super Bowl and did it with a very poor offensive line and a really good defense. Now we'll see if they can expound upon that. But I agree. He's got some swagger. He's got a lot of personality. No doubt. No doubt. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. You want to find us? Do it. Love to hear from you. Again, 877-867-1670. Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with this.
Bill, you know who I'm all in on this
who's
year,
that?
at least watching?
Who?
First is Washington, because I think Carson Wentz is going to look hilarious in those colors, and he's at least entertaining.
Right.
It's either great or it's a disaster. But I'm all in on the Colts. Put Matt Ryan on that team.
Yeah.
Choked away their season. Jonathan Taylor's electric. They have a good defense. Like they could be a contender, or it could just all fall apart.
The new look Colts. And, selfishly speaking, when you talk about Jonathan Taylor, obviously, yeah. And then they picked up, don't forget, they got Alec Pierce in the second round at the wide receiver position. And like you said, they already traded for Matt Ryan. They've got Michael Pittman. They've got Paris Campbell. They got some decent wideouts. They added a ton of depth. I don't think they really added many starters to this team other than swapping out their quarterback position. So the Colts are with, obviously, everybody loves Frank Reich and what he can do offensively speaking, and see what he does for Matt Ryan to see if he can take Matt Ryan to the next level. But, yeah, the Colts would be at least a couple of games. The Colts could be some must-see TV if Matt Ryan gets his career kind of resuscitated in Indianapolis. Anthony says, I can't believe nobody's talking about the new look New Orleans Saints. Their coach leaves, abandons them, thinking they're not going to have any talent. Now they're picked to be one of the contenders in the division. Anthony, it's amazing. They got Chris Olave. They got Trevor Penning to the left tackle position. They still have Alvin Kamara. They got Michael Thomas. They got some weapons. They re-signed to a contract extension Jameis Winston. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the best move or not, but you still have Cameron Jordan. You still got Shea Tuttle as your defensive front, Marcus Davenport. You're pretty solid in your secondary. Now, I don't know what they're going to end up doing. They got Alontae Taylor in the second round to be at the other corner position. They might have gotten good quick. Now, what their depth is, I think they're still going to be lacking. But they might have gotten better quick if Jameis Winston, who had a knee injury last year and was done for the season, if Jameis Winston comes back, plays well, and doesn't throw 4,700 picks as he's done in the past. Remember, he had his eyes worked on and was playing some decent football before he ended up going down with injury. So we'll see what actually happens. But, yeah, the New Orleans Saints in that division. Now, in that division, you got Tom Brady coming back. And Atlanta's picked to be dead last. They're just terrible. But they did make some inroads to at least picking up some decent personnel in the draft. But Tampa Bay, with Tom Brady retiring and then unretiring and everything else that's going on down there, then you've got their head coach saying, I'm going to step down. All of the change that's gone on in Tampa Bay, they're intriguing. Completely believe that.
Taysom Hill.
Or Taysom Hill, excuse me. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You were mentioning who the Saints have coming back.
Oh,
okay. The all-star, all-pro Taysom Hill
Taysom
can do
Hill.
everything perfectly.
Yeah, that doesn't, man. Yeah, Taysom Hill. Okay. You can just throw it in at any point in time. Just scream it out. Yell Taysom Hill, see what happens. Isn't their backup to Andy Dalton? Didn't they pick up Andy Dalton?
Yeah.
So if Jameis Winston is a dismal failure, you at least have the red rifle, right? I say tongue in cheek. Andy Dalton had one good season and ended up going down with a knee injury, and that was it. He had the one good season in Cincinnati, went to the postseason, faced the Steelers, had the knee injury, and was never the same. Was never the same quarterback after that. Now, granted, they didn't have the same personnel. I understand that, but he was never the same quarterback. And even in Chicago, and then again, Chicago was proven to be completely inept. But even in Chicago, he didn't look good.
Was Dalton's career kind of a very poor man's Carson Palmer's?
Same thing. Carson Palmer, same way. Yeah. Had a taste in Cincinnati the postseason, and then off he went. Just thought he was going to be the next, never became the next, and just kind of went quietly into that good night. Same
He was
thing.
good on Arizona, though, but similar.
He was okay. Good is a relative term. Good. Well, I can say good. Yeah, you can probably say
I'm comparing him to Andy Dalton. You
yes. Oh, God, yes. Yeah, Andy Dalton just had that one good season, and that was it. That's when they dubbed him the Red Rifle. And after that, he was firing blanks. So,
oh, boy.
877-867-1670. Kelsey says, can't believe nobody's talking about the LA Rams. They could get OBJ back. There's some talk of that, and they are the defending champions. Why would we not be talking more about the Rams? Good question. They pretty much stayed the same, right? There's not a whole lot of change there. They lost Von Miller. They lost OBJ. They still have Van Jefferson. They still have Cooper Kupp. The only change they made, really, as far as a starting role could possibly be, was when they picked up Logan Bruss to be their right guard. Other than that,
Bobby Wagner from Seattle, too.
yeah, Bobby Wagner, yeah. But that's really about it. It's the same team. Still got Jalen Ramsey back there. So, yeah, they're going to be a good team. 877-867-1670. This one's from Pac Fan. Says, hey, Unit, did you happen to catch the F1 race yesterday? That hour and a half pre-race show showed exactly what F1 will never be to Elkhart Lake. We've already discussed that. We went through that last week, and we even talked to the people from Elkhart Lake. And actually, F1 has talked about it. So just so you know, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, David Beckham, etc., would never show up there. It doesn't matter where the event is. If it's glitz and glam, they'll be there. If it's a must see, put it this way. They go to Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. So come on. It's Louisville, Kentucky. Other than Churchill Downs and Papa John's Pizza, what else is in Louisville, Kentucky? Come on. We've seen Brady. We've seen Jordan there. Churchill Downs, and the race itself is an event. People go to where the event is. If there was infrastructure and suites and all that kind of stuff, much like a PGA championship, okay, you'll see people go to PGA championships, go to U.S. Opens. They're played in small cities sometimes. Look at Kohler, Wisconsin, and you saw certain fans there as well. No, they'll go wherever the glitz and glam is. It's just that simple. 877-867-1670 coming up at the bottom of the hour. Going to talk some baseball. Mo Egger, ESPN Radio, is going to be joining us talking about the Brewers and the Reds coming up. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network. We're back in Judge Gina's court where debate's heating up.
Order.
Sorry, Gina.
That's Judge Gina, and this case is dismissed.
Dismissed?
Come on, guys. Wisconsin's home team. Everyone knows it's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
You got us there, Judge Gina. Can't argue with that.
Others sell only 1 or 2 lines of windows, and both are vinyl. Pella lets you choose from an unbeaten 6 window lines, 2 lines of budget-friendly vinyl windows, 3 lines of luxurious wood, traditional to contemporary, and Impervia, Pella's exclusive never rot fiberglass, engineered to be the strongest window material anywhere, period. And there's financing to fit any budget. And now, up to $2,500 off an installed patio door, up to $3,000 off an installed entry door. What's left to argue?
Hella now? Pay later. Hella now. Pay
Court's adjourned. With the price of materials rising across the country, don't let your huge savings slip away. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Coming up on Thursday, May 19th, put it on your calendar. We're going to be broadcasting live from the Social House, H-A-U-S, House, Social House, grand reopening going on, and the entire weekend kicked off on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's going to be a large portion of the proceeds donated to Fisher House, Wisconsin. They're going to have music and such, but it's going to be a great event. Dan Della, big supporter of the motorcycle ride, but that is also going to be an on-site pre-registration opportunity. So if you're out and about, ride around that day, we can do that for you. But by all means, make it a point. Thursday, May 19th, from 10 to 2, we're going to be doing our live broadcast out at Social House on Lisbon Road in Menominee Falls. Make it a point to be there. Hopefully you get a chance to come out and say hello that day. We're going to have a good time. Going to be there all weekend, but that is going to be the live broadcast day coming up on Thursday, May 19th. And you can see all the information and all the dates where we're going to be and such, at least what's on the calendar right now. Simply, if you go over to the Facebook fan page, go to facebook.com. That's facebook.com and / The Bill Michaels Show, facebook.com / The Bill Michaels Show. And you can see all the dates where we're going to be. Thursday, May 19th, going to be at the Social House for the live broadcast. Monday, June 6th, we got our first cigar dinner coming up. So get over to a Quick Trip site. Go to tobaccooutletplusgrocery.com, tobaccooutletplusgrocery.com. That's going to be an Ironwood Golf Course in Waukesha. Our first cigar dinner going to be Friday, June 10th up there for the Indy Cars at Road America. Saturday, June 11th, going to be in Fontana, Wisconsin, most likely for in the evening down at the Abbey Resort. There's going to be a fundraiser there. Wednesday, June 15th, we're going to be at Turtleback Golf Course on the 15th and the 16th in Rice Lake, Wisconsin for the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Classic. And then June 22nd, we're going to be for the cigar dinner, another cigar dinner. That's going to be at Celebrations in La Crosse. June 27th, another cigar dinner at Cortez's down in Kenosha. You got Sunday, September 4th. We're going to be at the motorcycle ride, which is coming up. Don't forget to that July 4th weekend. Going into July 4th, we're going to be at the NASCAR event, going up at Road America, going to be up there. So we got a lot going on. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. ESPN Steve says, just bought my tickets and a golf cart for the WeatherTech Series at Road America. You guys going to the race? We will be there. Yes, we will. You are correct. We will be up there. Not doing the live broadcast, though. Not like we have in the past. Not doing a live broadcast, but we're going to be there for sure. Going to be there that race weekend. Compliments of not only Road America, but our friends at Kunis RV. Kunis RV, they have got to, they are Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealer in the state. And go to kunisrv.com for everything that they have to offer. Kunis, K-U-N-E-S, that's K-U-N-E-S. Whether it's Jayco, Alliance, Coachman, Catalina, Dutchman, Forest River, Gulfstream, they've got it all. They've got it all. Stop into any one of their locations, and you can go look around. You can order. You can see what else they have on other lots. But go to kunisrv.com, and also they pay top dollar for your trade if you want to make a trade. And maybe you want to trade up. Go from a fifth wheel to a motorhome or a camper van to a fifth wheel or a travel trailer, what have you. And also they offer consignment as well. Consignment at Kunis. Go to Kunis, K-U-N-E-S, kunisrv.com. We go to the one down in Elkhorn. see my buddy Scott Remmer down there. He's the GM, and he'll take care of you down there. That's the one that I go to, but they have them all over the state. Go to CunisRV.com. That is Cunis, Kunes, Kunes, CunisRV.com. Coming up after the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk some more Brewers baseball. Just for the fact that the Brewers are in Cincinnati. We'll talk with Mo Egger of ESPN Radio there. The Baltimore Jim Trotter. We were talking about what teams you want to see play in primetime more often this year. Jim Trotter from the NFL Network says Baltimore always a must-see, not only because it has one of the game's more electrifying players in quarterback Lamar Jackson, whose ability to do something magical means never taking a bathroom break when the Ravens are on offense, but also because the defense plays the game as it should be played, physically, aggressively, and collectively. So there you go. Joe Thomas says Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Judy Batista says Kansas City Chiefs. And so on and so forth. Again, Jeffrey says Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kansas City. A lot of votes for those teams. Also, here's another one. What about the Chargers? Justin Herbert this year trying to make a name for himself and take his team to the postseason and have success. What about the Chargers? I agree. That whole, and then there's nobody's even mentioned the Denver Broncos, which I find almost a little bit shocking because they just picked up Russell Wilson. This was a team that felt they had a defense, they had decent offensive players. They just needed a quarterback to start to get them there. And now they traded for Russell Wilson, who's found new life. And we've seen the video of him with bringing the guys into his backyard where he's got a full football field in his backyard. I think it's a 50-yard field in his backyard. He's throwing deep passes to these guys.
Of course he does.
Sure, of course he does.
That's the most Russell Wilson thing I've ever heard.
Absolutely. I'm surprised he doesn't do church after the fact. Broadcast it live. But Russell
does it
Wilson
on the field.
Yeah, right. But Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy, got them all out there. Got some weapons. So we'll see. And they already had a pretty good defense. But yeah, Russell Wilson now, that's going to be a storyline to follow. And their new head coach, Nathaniel Hackett. I think we're forgetting to mention that. That's another team that I think is going to find its way into some primetime games. Who's going to end up with the most, though? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you would like to find us, feel free. Have an interest in to see who you would like to see more of. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers are in the mix. That I understand. Green Bay Packers are in the mix, but what else is there? Let's see here. Giants also. They James Bradbury got cut today. How about that? You know, the other team, by the way, that people are talking about making strides, not that they're even ready for prime time, but is the Jets because of everything they did. The Giants let go of the cornerback, James Bradbury, after failing to find a trade partner. The move creates $10.1 million in salary cap while leaving $11.7 million in dead money. So there you go. They got the June 1st cuts will be coming. We all know that. And there might be another wide receiver that ends up falling into the market that the Packers may be able to go out and grab. So don't necessarily hold your breath to say that the Packers are going to do something, but it's a possibility if they find the right deal out there. And again, I think it's been so quiet on the Jair Alexander front as far as getting a deal done with Jair. Been very quiet there. I would assume something is going to be done sometime soon. Mark says, what's the difference between the Brewers on the road and at home, not being able to hit the ball, but coming home and storming the walls? Well, they're 9-6 on the road, which is over 500. They're 3-2 in series play. And when they lost in Atlanta, that snapped their 6-game road win streak. So it's not like they're not playing well on the road. Last year, they went 50-31 on the road. So I'm not. They're going to win again on the road, I would assume. The one thing you don't want to do is lose 2 out of 3 to Cincinnati. You want to keep the momentum going. I think, but here you go. Here's your total, the batting splits. On the road, they are hitting 217 as a team with an OPS of 611. At home, they're hitting 248 with an OPS of 818. I mean, that right there alone is, and they're under 300 when it comes to their on-base percentage on the road. For a while, it was looking like, American Family Field was not going to be the place, the friendly confines, if you will, that the Brewers were kind of hoping for. But they flip-flopped it very quickly. But on the road, they're just not hitting as well. Hopefully that changes tonight down at Great American Ballpark, which is a hitter's park, their first venture into Great American this season. So hopefully it all changes coming up later on tonight. 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Do it. A couple of segments to go before we get out of here. Going to talk some more baseball. Brewers tonight on the air. And they're going to be taking on the Cincinnati Reds, as we had mentioned. That is going. By the way, that is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, a 5:40 Central Time start. And Mr. Woodruff, Brandon Woodruff, on the hill tonight, 3-1 with the ERA that is a little high. Although you take away that first start of the season, he's been lights out ever since. But 5.18 against Luis Castillo coming back from injury. Luis Castillo throwing tonight, the long-awaited return for him. Reds sitting at 5-23. The Brewers beat the hell out of them at American Family Field. Can they do the same down in Cincinnati? And the Brewers coming into this contest 19-10, 9-6 on the road. Mo Egger of ESPN Radio going to join us. That is coming up next on the Bill Michaels Show.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They're racing and you don't want to miss it. June 9th through the 12th, it's the NTT IndyCar Series Saucio Grand Prix presented by AMR. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show. Couple of segments to go before we get out of here. Big series coming up for the Brewers and the Reds. Reds get a couple of wins over the weekend. Maybe they put the train back on the tracks. In the meantime, the Brewers, who were so successful at American Family Field, pounding out 20 home runs on the homestand, go into Atlanta, and the last couple of games they played were only able to muster a total of 4 runs. So what's going to happen tonight as we now go down to the Queen City and talk to our good friend Mo Egger from ESPN Radio down there? You can find him on Twitter at Mo Egger, E-G-G-E-R. Mo, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Bill. What's going on?
So should we break up the Reds? They get a couple of wins over the weekend, man. It's like crazy.
They actually won a series. Can you believe it? I mean, if they could just play the Pittsburgh Pirates, 60 or 70 times this year, they might jump back into this thing.
Let's first and foremost start with some of the injuries and the guys that were on the COVID list and such. I mean, that team has been decimated. So give us the update as to who is back and who may not be back for a while.
Oh, God, they have 14 players on the injured list right now, most in all of Major League Baseball. I think that the key returnee you're going to see tonight, Luis Castillo, is going to make his 2022 debut, guy who's supposed to be the staff ace. A guy that, frankly, if he stays healthy, is somebody we're going to be talking about a lot around the trade deadline, because I think it goes without saying the Reds are going to be in sell mode, and Luis would be, I think, near the top of the market in terms of pitchers that a contending team would be interested in, because you get him not only for this year, but you get him for next year as well. But, look, it's not to make excuses, because you can't, because this wasn't a well-constructed roster, but they've had injuries in the outfield. They've had injuries to established guys like Joey Votto. They've had an injury to the reigning National League Rookie of the Year, Jonathan India, who's already been on the injured list twice. They've had injuries to their starting staff. Nick Lodolo is a guy that they're really, really high on, a rookie, and a guy who's shown some really nice flashes. Unfortunately, his back has been acting up, and so he's gone on the injured list. They've missed Lucas Sims, their closer, who has actually back and thrown the ball pretty well, but they've missed him. It really, at times, it's been a matter of, God, okay, who do they have? And not so much who's going to start, but who are you going to use off the bench, because their depth has been tested and already was not a very deep team to begin with. So I think what you start the conversation with Luis Castillo, because at the very least he is going to be on the mound tonight.
I got to admit, I was watching that when they specifically when they were here. Boy, I tell you what, there are just at times this team is a lot of their wounds are self-inflicted. You know, watching the ball fall in the middle of the infield with three guys standing around it, balls that are dropped, not hitting cutoff men, overthrowing base paths, you know, same thing, you know, in foul territory with some of these guys. What is it? Is it just a calamity of errors, guys not playing together? I mean, just what has it been that this team has just looked so bad?
You name it, it's gone wrong. I mean, look, they have the worst starting pitching ERA in baseball. They have the worst bullpen ERA in baseball. They have the second lowest team batting average in baseball, and they're not a good defensive team. Add that up, and you get 5-23, quite frankly. But look, they exist even when healthy with an incredibly small margin for error. So that puts a premium on not giving up outs on the base paths. It puts a premium on making the quote-unquote easy plays in the field. It puts a premium on not giving away outs. And unfortunately, they haven't been able to avoid all that. You referenced the pop-up play last week in Milwaukee. I think that was the day game where the ball fell right in front of the third base dugout between three guys. We've seen stuff like that happen on multiple occasions. In fact, they had a game in Denver last Sunday in which it occurred three times in the same inning, twice in foul territory, once in fair territory. It has been a calamity of errors. And it's shrunken the margin for error for a team that already didn't have it to begin with. I mean, look, the last year's team, look at the two rosters. Even if this year's team was enjoying relatively good health, they said goodbye this offseason to 5 former All-Stars. Now, not all those guys were All-Stars last year, and some of those players actually had poor seasons last year, but 5 former All-Stars and a 2-time Gold Glove winning catcher. So that's 6 regulars. That's 6 guys who were established, you know, pretty high-end big league players at one time or another that this team said goodbye to and didn't replace them with, you know, it's not like they moved on from Jesse Winker and there was a guy, you know, sort of pushing him at the minor league level that they had to give playing time to. They replaced him with Tommy Pham. They replaced Eugenio Suarez with a combination of dudes that include Colin Moran and Brandon Drury and Donovan Solano, who hasn't even played because he's gotten hurt. The roster to begin with was not good. When a team that's not good goes through injuries and it can't do the small things, the results are going to be disastrous.
I was talking last week, Derek Johnson, Lee Tunnell, when they left here, they were considered gurus and these whisperers, so to speak, for pitching staffs. All I hear down there is, and it's true when you look at the starting rotation, they don't throw strikes consistently. More often than not, they're going to go to 3 and 2 on damn near every batter, and they're throwing 4 1/3, 4 2/3, maybe 5 innings if they're lucky. What has been the pitching problem that's been so highlighted with 2 guys that are considered to be pitching gurus sitting there in the as far as the pitching coaches go?
Well, with Derek Johnson in particular, I think everybody still regards him as a great instructor of pitching. What they did this offseason, though, is they did the most Cincinnati Reds thing ever. They basically said to Derek Johnson, you're really good at your job. So here's what we're going to do. We're not going to give you another job. Derek Johnson is the team's pitching coach. He's also the director of pitching for the organization. So his plate is pretty full. Now, I talked with Derek about this offseason, and you know, he made it sound like, yeah, look, it was going to be an added workload, but it's something that he could take on. But it just strikes me as so much to bite off, right? You've got to handle the day in and day out of managing a big league pitching staff. All the while, you're setting the tone and monitoring what's happening elsewhere in the organization on the mound. I don't know how that works. I honestly don't know how that works. You know, with regard to, you know, what people might have said about Derek Johnson a year ago, right? Mm-hmm. So he revived Sonny Gray's career. Sonny Gray's not here anymore. He was credited with getting Wade Miley to have a really good turnaround season last year. Wade Miley's not here anymore. Luis Castillo hasn't thrown a pitch this season until tonight. They moved on this offseason from Michael Lorenzen, moved on from Amir Garrett. The guy they got for Amir Garrett, Mike Minor, also hasn't thrown a pitch this year. They're paying him $9 million. Hunter Green, we've seen flashes of brilliance. We also saw him get beaten around in Milwaukee last Thursday when he looked like he was throwing batting practice. I don't know how much of this you could put on Derek, but what I do think is interesting is he was getting really, really good results when he had one job. Now he has two. And you're also asking him to do more with less. I think that's a really, really hard ask.
Talking with Mo Egger of ESPN Radio in Cincinnati, covering the Cincinnati Reds. You can get him on Twitter at Mo Egger. So Joey Votto, when he's with the team, they're 2-2. Without him, they've been getting the hell beat out of him. When does Joey Votto come back?
It's a mystery. Yeah, I mean, in a season that has provided a lot of mysteries, this is the latest. He's gone. First of all, he hasn't hit when he has been in the lineup, right? So you look at the numbers, and I think there's genuine cause for concern there because Joey changed his game last year to emphasize home runs. Well, Joey's going to be 39 years old in September. You and I both know that what doesn't age well, power, especially in an era in which the ball has been deadened. So there's a part of me that wonders, does it make sense for him to go back to the old way of hitting, which was work counts, be a little bit more patient, not as aggressive, hit the ball to all fields. He hasn't done that yet. So he hasn't been productive. He went on the injured list, the COVID injury list. And, you know, if you suffer a pulled hamstring or you hurt your elbow or you break a bone, that gets disclosed. When you're on the COVID list, that doesn't get disclosed. So, you know, right now it feels like it's anybody's guess as to when he's going to be available.
I guess at this point, you know, obviously the Brewers are coming in. They're not as hot, losing 2 out of 3 to Atlanta. They're hoping to get hot again, offensively speaking. The weather is indicative down there to the balls flying out of Great American Ballpark as it begins to warm up. We all know. What is the now expectation? Because I've seen quite a few people that I follow on Twitter that cover the Reds, you know, showing no fans in the stands. They're announcing 20,000. There's lucky to be 5. I mean, so what is the expectation for this team right now? And what does the lack of pandemonium mean?
Well, I think the expectation for the team, you know, frankly, those expectations weren't huge coming into the season. Now, I don't think anybody thought we would spend the spring and maybe early part of the summer, you know, keeping track of their pace as it relates to the 1962 Mets, but that's what we're doing. I frankly think the expectations this year, we don't even have them. They're so bad. What does it matter? You're 13 and a half games out of first place, and the season's a month old. So the expectations for the rest of the season, just get us to the end of the season and then see where ownership decides to go. But I think what you're seeing in terms of fans not coming to the ballpark is certainly a reflection of the on-field product. But I think for the first time, what you're seeing is a very, very obvious rebuke of ownership, its track record, and what they did to this team this offseason when, you know, look, that team last year wasn't terrible. I mean, you and I talked around the All-Star break when the Reds and Brewers were playing 7 games against each other, and we thought, all right, we might have a pennant race here. Now, obviously, Milwaukee ran away with it, but that's still a team that finished with an above 500 record, and you felt like with a decent offseason and the likelihood of an added postseason team in the National League, this team could contend. And instead, they dismantled it and not necessarily tanked. I mean, their payroll is still reasonably high relative to the market size, but they just, you know, there's been what ownership has done. There's been some of the things that have come out of Phil Castellini's mouth. He's the team's chief operating officer, where he basically said, you know, what else are fans going to do? Well, they've answered that question. We'll do anything but go show up at Great American Ballpark.
Always great to talk to you, my friend, and say hi to Jimmy Mo when you get over to the Holy Grail for me, okay?
I will see him tonight, and I will say hello.
Give him a hug. Tell him a high five from an elder grad, all right?
You got him.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later, Mo. There you go. Mo Egger, ESPN Radio in Cincinnati, giving us the lowdown, and he's right. It is not a lot of hope down there right now. Not a lot of hope. Not a lot of hope for anything. I think their hope is just get us through to the regular season for football and pray to God Joe Burrow stays healthy. That's about the extent of it. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. A reminder, the registration, the pre-registration is now open. All you got to do is go to FisherHouseWI.org. That is FisherHouseWI.org. If you want to get pre-registered for the motorcycle ride, it's a little bit cheaper to pre-register than it is the day of, and it comes with some great opportunities to win some great prizes. The motorcycle ride going to be Sunday, September 4th. We cannot beg you enough to join us. We want to make this one our biggest and better on our 15th anniversary. Hope to see you. Go to FisherHouseWI.org. More of the Bill Michaels Show. We wrap it up. Coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
The Forgotten Fire Winery, right here in our own backyard. Forgotten Fire Winery up in Peshtigo, Wisconsin. Got to say thanks to them for being a big part of the program. They have different wines. They even have some cider wines, in case you're interested. They've been doing this a long time. And their motto is, look, wine it can be snooty. We all know that. We're not snooty. We're Wisconsinites. We're Midwesterners. And we carry a different lack of snootiness, if you will. And their motto is fun in a bottle. It's good stuff, and it's made right here in the state of Wisconsin, made right here in Peshtigo, Wisconsin. And they're a great place to go if you're looking for a winery tour. If you're looking to buy some bottles at your local grocery stores, liquor stores, things like that, go to ForgottenFireWinery.com, ForgottenFireWinery.com. And we can't say thanks enough to them for becoming a part of the program, but I'm telling you, I've had some people over the weekend that we were at the Kentucky Derby thing over the weekend. I had a friend of a friend, we'll say, walk up to me and said, "Hey, I heard you got that winery on board." And I said, "I did." He said, "My wife and I were just there not that long ago, had a lot of fun, and said a couple of really good wines." He gave me some suggestions. And I completely forgot the name of the suggestions. My apologies. But the bottom line was I was smiling because I'm thinking there's some people that know about Forgotten Fire Winery here in the state of Wisconsin, and they really like it, really enjoy it. So if you're looking for some good wines made right here and fun in a bottle, as they say, non-snooty, ForgottenFireWinery.com, but look for it at your local grocery store, your liquor stores, your Total Wine type of stores, that type of place. There you go. Forgotten Fire Winery. Great people, a lot of fun. So coming up tomorrow on the program, we all know what's coming up tomorrow. Come on, let's be honest, right? Tomorrow, we're going to recap the Game 4 of the Bucks and the Celtics coming up tonight down at the Fiserv Forum, and we'll break everything down. We'll talk about what happened. We'll talk about what's coming up next in Game 5. Bucks are a point favorite tonight. That's come down a little bit. A lot of the national pundits are saying this is it for the Celtics, that they got to get a win tonight or it's over. So look for the Bucks to come out and see and take the absolute best shot from the Boston Celtics tonight. They're going to get their best shot tonight. Because if the Bucks win this game, then it's the desperation shot. Anything goes in Game 5. But the Bucks are going to get their best shot tonight. And then you got the Brewers. Brewers coming up tonight. Luis Castillo goes to the Hill this evening for the Cincinnati Reds. And Castillo making his season debut. This was the guy that is supposed to be Cincinnati's ace. He has not pitched at all this season. Going up against the Brewers, Brandon Woodruff this evening. That is a 5:40 Central Time start tonight. 5:40 Central Time start tonight from the Queen City. And in the meantime, then you got the Bucks tonight, 6:30 Central Time on TNT. The Bucks and the Celtics tipping off down at the Fiserv Forum, which means the Deer District's going to be rocking. They're going to have both games up and running. If you're going to be stopping at any of the restaurants, there's always Calderon Club, there's San Giorgio, there's Stenny's, a lot of the places downtown, or the bars that are going to be on the outskirts, or maybe wherever it is you live. If you're going to be out at Wisconsin Brewing tonight, or if you're going to be up at Howie's in La Crosse tonight, or maybe somewhere else that's going to be a party. If you're going to be at the bar up in Wausau, or in Mosinee, or in Rothschild, I should say. Going to be a good one tonight. So stop in any one of these places and grab yourself a beverage, grab yourself some dinner, sit back, relax, because it's going to be all Milwaukee and Wisconsin all the time tonight. Bucks and Celtics tonight, Brewers and Reds. And Ben, you've got the Bucks losing tonight?
All right. If I was put on the spot, I would probably pick the Celtics to win by a point.
Okay. Celtics by a point tonight. I've got the Bucks by a point or two, 105, 104, 105, 103, something like that, and go from there. I'm looking forward to it. Tonight's going to be a good night. Can't wait. So that's going to kind of do it for us today. And then back tomorrow to talk about all of this and so much more. All of this and so much more coming up tomorrow on the program. Let's see here. Brett says you do need $1 million horse. Kentucky Derby, Rich Strike could be a contender in the last two races. You do need $1 million. You know what? Again, that horse was 80-1 going into the Derby. I don't even think that horse is probably going to be expected to win in the next two races, for that matter. Brett says also the Bucks need this one tonight. That'll do it. I can't wait for tomorrow. I can't wait for tonight. I'm looking forward to tonight. I'm going to be hunkered down. I'm going to have multiple TVs going tonight. Should be a good one. Live from the wagon wheel. The bar downstairs. All right. Thanks to everybody for participating tonight. Everybody over in the Bud Light live stream, everybody on Twitter, everybody hitting us up. And if you want to listen to any part of the program or maybe something you missed or you want to listen to the whole thing over again, don't forget, we live each and every day on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts. You can always find us at any one of those ventures, and we're good to go. Until we talk again tomorrow, go Bucks!